All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, and we have had quite the wobbly day in the equity markets. And the reason for that is because of none other than Mr. Jerome Powell. I didn't know exactly where he would be talking or what he would be talking about. Apparently, he was at some economic club and he gave a pretty long speech. And on top of that speech, he answered questions for about 30 minutes. And, well, that led to him saying some things that I think is the reason we had some of the wobbliness, if that's a word, intraday. I mean, we kind of recovered since then, but overall, it was a green day until Jay Powell had to speak. These are the main highlights of what he said and what's causing some of the pain. By the way, we got Micron earnings after the bell. That's going to be a big one. We will have Technical Tuesday as well. So we'll get through Micron. We'll get into Technical Tuesday. I'm going to put the Micron pump or dump poll right here in the chat and see what people think. Let me know if you own this stock, if you're heavy in it, and we'll see what numbers they put up. So Jay Powell basically complained about the labor market. He said, hey, job creation has dropped sharply, possibly due to tariffs. He said we're in a low hire, low fire economy, aka people are not hiring, but people are not firing as much. He said people will need new skills in the labor market, particularly because of AI, even though he didn't really admit that AI is the reason why we're having a weak labor market. He kind of blamed it more on uncertainty of policy, which is more about tariffs. And then he said this, which I don't know if this is the sentence that got the market to take a little bit of a breather, because he said this and the impact of, I think this sentence didn't happen until like 30 minutes into his speech, which is the stock market is fairly highly valued. That was the exact quote. The stock market is fairly highly valued. And maybe that, along with some algorithms, is what caused the dip. Robinhood got all the way to 124.07. SOFI got to 28.85. Grab got to 626. Reddit got to 236. S&P got all the way to 661.98. S&P still down more than 0.5% on the day. So it is, definitely a move on the S&P to the downside, down about $4, 662.80. It was at 667. But I think that's relatively normal. And, given the past couple of weeks that it's not that crazy for it to take a bit of a breather. Tesla was at 440 today. Tesla back down to 428. NVIDIA was at 182. NVIDIA down. It was at 177, now at 178. So honestly, my take on why we had a bit of weakness in the market today was not because of Jay Powell, but because the market was looking for any reason, Bitcoin and Ethereum also taking a little bit of a hit, to sell off. And they used Jay Powell's comments about the labor market and uneasiness in the labor market, along with his comments around the stock market being fairly highly valued, as like the reason for why maybe we should have some pain. And so, yeah, he also said he doesn't watch the stock market. Yeah, Trump said he doesn't watch the stock market either. But Trump said, the only thing that's up today is the stock market. So, I mean, all of these guys, the Fed, the Trump administration, Federal Reserve, they all watch the stock market. And they all care about it, and they all are not supposed to comment on it, but they do. Robinhood right there, 126. So it is what it is. Now, Rocket Lab, I'm not sure exactly why this one has had such a strong day. This was at 54.16. Right now, it's up 6%, so down a little bit from where it was in the morning. It was at 47.91 at one point, 52.77. This one having a great day. And then ASTS as well, phenomenal day. That's up 12%. It was at 56. Now that's at 54.77. So again, I don't really think there was a logical, fundamental reason for any of the sell-off that we saw today, and I struggle to even call it a sell-off. I mean, down less than 0.5% on the S&P and maybe 1 or 2% on some of the big names is not that much of a sell-off. But nonetheless, that is likely the reason, or potentially the reason, for what we saw today when Powell was speaking. Now, one other thing did happen, which maybe could have caused a little bit of the pain as well. Trump saying in a Truth Social post after he met with Zelensky, we did have a video of Trump and Zelensky meeting together and talking for a couple minutes with the media. Basically that he thinks Ukraine is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. So Trump right here admitting kind of that the war doesn't need to end, but rather Ukraine can fight strong enough to be able to win the war, which is a full 180 from the Alaska conference with Putin. Now, unfortunately, that Alaska conference with Putin that Trump thought would result in some progress. Today, he said his relationship with Putin didn't mean anything, unfortunately. Didn't mean anything, unfortunately. So, I mean, maybe you've got a little bit of geopolitical tensions along with what Jay Powell said about the labor market creating a bit of pain. But realistically, it's, the last week of September. We've had a pretty strong September. I think the market was looking for any reason to have a little bit of a sell-off, and that's what we had today. S&P 500 right there down about 0.5% as we get into the close. Now, Quantum not really experiencing that much of a sell-off. There you go. D-Wave, basically high of day, 27.65. That's up 7.71%. Rigetti, that one continues to be up 11% on the day. IONQ 75, that's basically 76 was the all-time highs. It's right there at 75. That's up 4.26% on the day. So the quantum names continuing to get their momentum. That's not slowing down. Oklo, this thing was at 132 in the morning. It's at 143 right now. You got Joby, that's up 5%. I mean, you got a name like Amazon that's down 3%, which, by the way, I did buy Amazon, bought 100 shares at 222.40. 222.40. I'm in it. I wrote a little bit on Twitter, but you guys know my thesis. I think the tariff stuff and the AWS growth is a little bit, I think that's too aggressive. I mean, Amazon now is negative year to date. It's the only Mac 7 that's negative year to date. I think if we do end up having a bull run towards the end of the year, Amazon probably is close to around 240, 250. So I'm in for 100 shares, Amazon 222, but that's down 4% on the day, or 3% on the day, 3.02%. But D-Wave and Oklo are up 7%. I mean, it's quite incredible. You got a lot of different things going on in the broader markets, and there's not that much of an explanation for some of this stuff. But you do have some of those names getting hit. The Qs are down 0.65, CrowdStrike's down 1.7, Coinbase down 3.5 again. Bitcoin and Ethereum not doing the best. Robinhood holding up. Robinhood got to 127.78. It looks like we might get that 126 close. So that one's holding on. They did just get into the S&P 500 yesterday, which is helping them. And then AppLovin, this one I think is also doing all right, 650. This one is also doing all right. Big Bear AI, another name, massive day, 14%. It was pretty much at this price during the market open. Orbs, we interviewed Dan Ives yesterday. That one is up 4%. I do not own D-Wave. But it is, doing very well. So you got a lot of parts of the market that are kind of continuing to grind higher in the midst of what took the S&P down, which is, I think, Jay Powell's comments and maybe Trump's comments. But those individual stocks are continuing to do well. So that's some of the stuff we've got going on already. Now, you got a bunch of people on Twitter already saying the top is in, like Skrelly after. I mean, like the S&P fall. See, when the S&P does have a dip, which inevitably will happen, I don't know how the market's going to react, how people are going to react, but the S&P went from 667 to 661, and the amount of tweets that said the top is in, here you go, we're done, bull market's over, it's quite incredible. And so you've got so many people that are just ready to call the top and, be essentially happy that this market is now falling on its foot. And that's not really, I mean, that's an intraday algo move based on what a Fed official said. To me, that's not necessarily the top, and it's hard to imagine that is easily the way to claim that is the top. So that's what we got right there on the broader S&P, 663.23. Now we have a couple of other updates from Micron earnings. Let me see what people say. 61% of you guys think it's going to pump. 39% say it's going to dump. I have no dog in this race. I hope Micron does well so that other people make money on it, but I have no clue. And so we're going to see what happens with Micron, but that one will be announced soon after the bell. We do have this partnership real quick on Boeing and Palantir. So they announced a partnership literally 10 minutes ago. Quote from Steve Parker, CEO of Boeing Defense: Palantir's on the cutting edge when it comes to leveraging artificial intelligence to accelerate getting critical products, services, and capabilities in the hands of military operators. This collaboration is a natural fit that brings together two great companies with a common mission, supporting unified personnel and protecting freedom across the world. Palantir did get an upgrade today to 215 by Bank of America. So that is the highest price target on the street from Bank of America. And now they got this partnership with Boeing. They did get that partnership with the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, $1 billion deal last week. So that was also very important. Now, this thing that I saw today, apparently this came out a week ago and I didn't see this, but I found out today, the CBOE, which is the Chicago Board of Options, came out. A lot of pretty much all the market making around, or a significant part of the market making in the options market happens in Chicago. They are coming out with a Magnificent 10 index. It's not out yet, but it will be out in the coming weeks. And the top 10 companies are the Mag 7 plus Palantir, Broadcom, and AMD. Palantir made it in. Palantir does have a market cap that is almost double of AMD, or not almost. AMD is like 300 billion, Palantir is 420 billion, but Palantir is, a $400 billion company. Broadcom, obvious, it should be in there. And then AMD. Now, I love AMD. I think AMD is a great company. Lisa Su's a rock star. I do think Oracle or TSM maybe would have been better choices, given those are basically trillion-dollar companies at this point. But the growth potential of AMD can't be denied, and that's probably the reason why they got in. Also, they made this index before Oracle had that monster quarter, and if they did after they saw that quarter, then maybe things would have been a little different. But you do have Oracle that's in there, and or AMD that's in there, and not Oracle. So that is, I was just kind of cool because it was like, oh, Palantir made an index. Palantir is not in that many outside of S&P and NASDAQ. It doesn't really make these like weighted, this is equal weighted, by the way, equal weighted lists of indices, but Palantir did make that one. So that's what we got there. All right. So Micron, now what is the street expecting for Micron? That stock right here is up 1.43%, pushing 167 All-time high on Micron is 170.45, or at least 52-week high. And so we're going to see what we get on Micron. The street is looking for $2.86 of EPS and 11.16 billion of revenue. 11.16 billion of revenue and $2 of EPS. I mean, I think they could crush that, but I really do think they're going to need either a Microsoft Meta type of quarter that we got last month or an Oracle Broadcom type of quarter that we got this month. And if they do, then maybe that's going to get the street to be a bit more excited about that. BMNR, this one took a bit of a hit today, 54.28, down about 1.4%. It's now down 11% for the week. This is the nature of volatility. You kind of got to be ready to handle it. So BitMine, if you do have covered calls, those are printing. If you did buy calls, those are not doing too well. That's down about 1.4% on the day. And that is red. Now, Orbs right here, up 14%. Not sure why Orbs is up. Again, I do not own this name. I do think there is a thesis behind WorldCoin, and I think it makes sense at the end of the day to have some type of authentication for humans. It's just not my cup of tea to be able to bet on a crypto like this or a treasury like this. I mean, even I'm not the type of guy who buys like treasury stocks, but BitMine, given Ethereum's appeal to me, is so attractive. And also I have exposure to Orbs if you have BitMine. I mean, if you have BMNR, you have exposure to this already. So I'm not in this, but this is up 11.53% on the day. WorldCoin itself, maybe that's up today. WorldCoin, no, that's actually down today. Weird. So WorldCoin's down 5%, but still this one's pumping, which means you might have some people that are just beginning to buy in. And that's where you're getting some momentum. Why is the premium crazy on BMNR? Is that concerning? No, the premium is crazy on BMNR because you got a lot of people that are willing to buy calls. I mean, if you have such a juicy options market where people actually want to buy some of these call options, then, you know, the premiums are going to be jacked up. And that's why selling calls is very attractive here. It's just those calls can get hit really badly if, you know, BitMine goes up like 10, 15% a day, which it did a while ago. So BitMine right there, 54.16. That's up 1.7% on the day. All right, we got 2 minutes until the market closes, and then we'll see what we've got on Micron. Let me know if anyone did anything in the chat. Again, I think this was one of those days to just sit back and kind of let the market do its thing. I mean, maybe you could have traded it back and forth. If you were long in the morning, great. If you were short in the afternoon, great. But really, that one Powell comment, I think, is what caused a lot of pain. And because of that comment, you start to see a little bit more deterioration, at least in parts of the stock market. Now, Sam Altman, we talked about this in the morning, did put out a new letter. And this letter is basically him saying, I posted about it on Twitter, essentially him saying we need even more than 10 gigawatts of capacity for compute. We need, you know, more capacity than anyone can imagine. He wants to get to 1 gigawatt of an AI factory per week. Obviously, that's going to be very, very hard to be able to create. It's going to cost $30-40 billion just to even get one of them up and running. But the point is, he is very ambitious to keep this going. And you got a lot of people. There was a Bain study that came out today. We'll talk about that later, that said, hey, the promise of AI in terms of the ROI on CapEx isn't really there. And the numbers are seeming a bit like unreasonable. And so we'll kind of go through the study that they came out with today. But regardless, you have the market continuing to bid on a lot of these names. And Micron's going to be a very, very big player in this race because you're going to need memory storage. So it's just a question of seeing if they can execute and give us a quarter that is necessary to maintain their momentum as well. All right, folks, here we go. It is Tuesday, September 23rd. Thank you, everybody, for being here at 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed. All right, here we go. Here we go. Micron, I think, is either 405 or immediate. So we're going to see something pretty quick on Micron. If not, it's going to take a couple minutes. But usually that happens relatively soon as the market closes. Palantir ends the day at 182. That's green. Hoodie, 126. First 126 close ever in history. That's up about 1.05%. Tesla, 425. That was down about 2% on the day. NVIDIA, 178. That was down about 3% after the 5% bump yesterday from the OpenAI partnership. S&P, down about 0.5%. I think it's kind of healthy, to be honest. I mean, we were pushing all-time highs. Not that crazy to take a little bit of a break. And so that one, taking a breather, I think it's fair. AMD right there, 160. SOFI, unfortunately, cannot get the $30 close. That's down about 2% of the day, 29.14. Grabby grab. We did break 660. We're not able to get back to that. I think the lows, it was at 626 right there at 634. That's down about 1.7% of the day. Google, 251. Again, continuing to close above 250. Reddit just got hit today. I don't know why, but it got hit. And Reddit right there, down about 7%. Micron, do we have it? Do we have the numbers? Do we have the numbers? Don't have the numbers yet. Do we? No, it's moving though. It's moving up. It's moving down. Let's see. Is that actually moving? No, that's like, it was like 1% down for a second. Now it's green. Okay, the numbers are not out yet. The numbers are not out yet. We're going to see what happens right there. But, oh, now it's pumping. There you go. There you got a green can. Let's see. Can that hold on? Oh, this is a wobbly one, dude. This one's not easily going up. This one's struggling a bit. It looks like it wants to pump, but it's not fully there. Let's put it on the minute. It's trying. How many of you said pump or dump? I think 70% of you said pump, 30% said dump. So majority of you are pretty bull. Yeah, 63% say pump, 37 say dump. Okay, 170. That's a break. 170.45. Up, just break to all-time highs. 171. Okay, now it's moving. I'll try to get the numbers while we're looking at it. Micron, it is going up. 171. It's not all at once, but it's like slowly by slowly trying to break through. 172 now on Micron. I think I have the numbers. Do I have them? Let me see. Micron. Okay, here we go. We have 303 versus 286. That's a beat on EPS. That's a beat on EPS by 6%. 11.3 versus 11.1 billion. That's a beat by 1% on revenue. Revenue's up 45% year over year. EPS is up 150% year over year. That is a double beat on Micron. That is a double beat on Micron. Stock's not having a massive reaction. It's up 4%. For some context, Micron was up 40% over the past month. So, you know, they do have to put up a really good quarter, especially in terms of guidance, which I don't have yet to really get this moving. But 172, that's up 3.7, not really holding on as well as it should. I'll try to get the guidance. I don't have that yet. Their guidance is always really good. And that's why people were struggling to understand why Micron was in the gutter during the summer, because it's like their guidance is always amazing. And it's like the street always wants even something more. But we got to see what they put out. Still don't have the guidance yet, but EPS 303 versus 279, revenue 11.3 versus 11.2. Okay, fourth quarter revenue guidance. They see 12.2 to 12.8 billion. The street wanted 11.9. That's a beat. That's a beat on guidance. That's a beat on guidance. Street wanted 11.9. They're coming in at 12.2 on the low end, which is still a beat. 12.8 on the high end, which is almost an $800 million beat. So that's not something to scoff at. But these are the results for Micron. Stock is up about 5%. Stock is up about 5%. Not sure why Orbs was up today, to be honest. I have no idea. I didn't see any headline. If anyone has a headline, let me know, but not sure. Open Door's pumping 1% after hours. Now, Open Door was down 15% today. So Open Door definitely took a bit of a hit. It is 8 cents away from going below 7. It's up 1% after hours. Now it's 15 cents away from going below that $7 range at 7.15. But that one did take a hit. Orbs, not sure exactly why that was green. Micron right there, 174. All right, now she's trying to break and move above where she was just at, 4.5%. 175 would be very nice to see. But you got to see if we get there. Yes, Jason will be on today. In about 20 minutes, Jason will be on. And we will get into Technical Tuesday. Yeah, this is not a bad earnings. This is not a bad earnings at all. I'm going to see if we can pull up their actual numbers if it's on the website. But top line, bottom line beat, guidance beat, that to me is not bad. Okay, it's not on the website yet, unfortunately. A lot of times these companies are a little too late. So we'll wait a couple minutes to see if it gets there. But we do have the top and the bottom line numbers. 174, that is green. 174 is green. Yeah, the revenue guidance growth is about 50%. Yes, we will have Technical Tuesday today. We will have that today. Trump is live. Dude, this guy was live for like 10 hours today. Is he live again? He's still in the UN. No, I don't see him live right now. He did give like a 2.5-hour speech. So whatever speech he did give, live. He also, I mean, you know, we watched that speech in the morning. He definitely said certain things that were a bit antagonistic towards the entire United Nations. I mean, he said, guys, you guys don't shit. You guys don't do shit. You write letters. Letters don't solve wars. Your escalator and teleprompter didn't even work when I got here. So he was definitely positioning the United States against the United Nations today. But he then talked about his meeting with Zelensky and how Ukraine probably has a chance to fight back. I think what he's recognizing is Putin's not ready to cooperate on ending this war. And that's why he put out that statement today. Now, maybe he put out that statement as a form of leverage to show Putin he's ready to keep supporting Ukraine in this fight and to keep this war going for the next 5 years if they need to. But he did say he was disappointed with Putin's behavior after the Alaska conference. Micron now getting a bit of a red candle. This one's not able to hold up. Micron up 3% after hours, 3.2%. It was up about 7% at the highs. Trump officials seek equity stake in Lithium Americas as a part of a renegotiation of a $2.26 billion loan for Thacker Pass lithium project. Two sources tell Reuters. Lithium Americas is up 70%. There you go. There you go. This is what happens in Trump's stock market. Lithium Americas, I didn't even know this was a company. Some of you guys probably know more about it than me. $740 million market cap. It's definitely a small cap. Lithium Americas engaged in the development of the Thacker Pass project. It is focused on advancing Thacker Pass to production. It is located in northern Nevada. That is up 70%. So what is the headline right here? Lithium Americas offered Trump administration no-cost warrants that would equate to 5 to 10% of the company's common shares. Bro, Trump is basically starting a VC fund with the best bank account in America, which is the Treasury Department, because that bank account pretty much includes all of our tax revenue. And quite frankly, if they didn't have any tax revenue, they could just keep printing more dollars. But there you go. First Intel, now Lithium Americas. That stock up 63%. I don't know if I would buy in here. I mean, either the upside is already baked in based on this announcement, or there's going to be details that maybe aren't as friendly, and this is just the initial headline, so there could be a sell-off right here. But that is up 60%. Volume is exploding. How much was the volume during the day? During the day, volume was 13 million. Average volume is 7 million. All right, so the volume during the day already showed us, if you were paying attention, I definitely wasn't, that someone knew something. To have double the volume usually means there's something coming up. 75% up now for Lithium Americas on the day. Micron, is that one holding any of its juice? Micron back to below 170. It's giving back a decent chunk of it. Let me get the update right here on Micron, and then we will keep going from there. Here we go.
We're seeing a beat on the top and bottom line, 303 adjusted, which is higher than the estimates on $11.32 billion. And this earnings beat comes when estimates had already increased because the company pre-announced just at the beginning of August. So these are even stronger numbers than expected. For their Q4 non-GAAP gross margins, 45.7%, also higher. For the guide, there was a lot going on in this guide. $3.75, I should say, adjusted for their Q1 EPS guide. That is higher than every estimate out there, according to street accounts. And then the Q1 revenue guide of $12.5 billion, also higher. And then the big one, too, is gross margins. They're guiding at 51.5. There was concerns that they'd be cutting prices, competition with Samsung, et cetera. And so that is why you're seeing shares up a little bit over 3.5% right now, teetering around there. Guys?
Christina, thanks. Jay.
So let's go back to Prism.
Yeah, so Prism, PRSM, profits raised.
All right, so gross margins decent, revenue growth obviously pretty good, guidance good, just not enough to really get this to pump hard. And again, like it was up 40% going into this. Like you just can't get too excited to get a monster move. That's why I didn't buy Oracle at 230, because it was up 100% going into the print. However, they delivered one of those quarters. Micron did not deliver one of those quarters, at least not from the numbers that I'm seeing right here. And if they did, maybe things would be different. The results still not on their website, so we can't get all the juicy details yet, but we do have those top and bottom line numbers. LAC, again, Lithium Americas, that one now up 45%. It was up 70% just like 3 minutes ago. So you got a 25% decline within the past 3 minutes. This one's, look at this chart, dude. How is this year to date? Year to date, the stock has been stuck between $3 on January 1st to $3.05 today, September 23rd. This 46% move is the first move it's pretty much had all week to get some of the screen. So there you go. Not too bad. Not too bad yet. I don't think we have any other earnings after the bell. Do we have something else? Micron was the main one that we were looking at. Saylor is going to be on CNBC in a bit, so we'll see what he has to say around his stock and his company. Obviously, Bitcoin's been taking a bit of a ugly hit over the past couple of weeks. And, you know, the crypto thing is kind of, I don't think we should be ignored. I do think it's not that big of a deal, but I mean, Bitcoin breaks below 110, gets kind of interesting. Same thing with Ethereum. If that breaks anywhere near to that 4,000 range, 4161 on Ethereum. So we've really got to see if they can hold up their momentum or if these stocks are going to take a bit of a hit. Is this still a rumor? Yes. I mean, this is still a rumor. This the Lithium America stuff is still not confirmed. That's what Bloomberg is reporting. At least that's what I have on my screen. Lithium Americas did not officially come out and say something yet. And I mean, it seems like it is real, but we don't have that yet. Trump officials seek equity in Lithium Americas as part of renegotiation. This is Reuters, actually. $2.26 billion loan for the Thacker Pass lithium project. Well, it makes sense because, I mean, the Trump administration has basically said, hey, if you guys got grants from Biden, which was basically free money for you guys, we want something in return. Now, the companies will say, well, we're creating jobs. And the Trump administration is like, yeah, that's not good enough. We want a lot more than just you guys creating jobs. And it looks like they're going for full-on equity stakes. It looks like that is how this is playing out. All right, let's get an update right here from the OpenAI CFO. So again, we talked a lot about the deals that NVIDIA has been making over the past couple of weeks, the biggest one being that $100 billion contract with OpenAI. Here is what the OpenAI CFO said today about this partnership and how much financing they're really going to need to make this continue to happen.
They will need partners like Oracle and Microsoft to meet demand, but also stressed OpenAI will build its own first-party infrastructure to keep pricing leverage and to protect its IP. She compared it to Amazon, choosing to build AWS rather than rely on IBM servers. And when I asked how they're financing that growth, she pointed to a major restructuring now underway, one that involves their biggest partner and investor, Microsoft.
It's our recapitalization, and this allows OpenAI to continue to grow in the future, but also make sure our nonprofit is really front and center. On the commercial side with Microsoft, they're a major partner. All of Microsoft's AI products run on OpenAI's IP, so it's a major part of our relationship. They've been a major and will be a major compute supplier. So I'm pleased that we are where we are, but not fully ready to announce everything yet, but coming soon.
OpenAI CFO told me they're always looking for ways to raise capital. An IPO isn't off the table, but won't be anytime soon. Critics, meanwhile, pointing to a circular economy with OpenAI committing sums that far exceed its $13 billion in revenue for this year, including that $100 billion deal that it signed with NVIDIA on Monday. Shares of the chipmaker sliding today as investors ask whether NVIDIA is becoming the investor of last resort. D.A. Davidson's Gil Luria echoing what your guest just said a moment ago, noting that NVIDIA already backstopped CoreWeave's IPO, and now OpenAI is pledging hundreds of billions of dollars across Oracle, CoreWeave, backup cloud providers, and new projects in the Gulf and Asia. That raises real questions about sustainability.
Now, that $100 billion going back and forth leads us into this conversation, which is the Bain article that came out today, or I'd rather I should say a study from Bain. Bain is one of the largest consulting firms. Yeah, I'm seeing this headline right here. Tether, I'm definitely saying that wrong as well. Tether, that's probably the right way to say it. Discussions to raise up to $20 billion in new equity, placing it in the same league as OpenAI and SpaceX in terms of private market work. Now, Tether, from my understanding, is a stablecoin company. One of the reasons why Circle had such a hyped up IPO is because it was one of the only alternatives to Tether. But if they're looking to raise $20 billion, A, I'm curious who's going to be doing that financing, and then B, how exactly do they plan to facilitate the $20 billion fundraise? But you do have the stablecoin. I mean, it makes sense. All the stablecoin companies are starting to catch a bid. The federal government has literally said they're ready to support stablecoins. So you would imagine that Tether is able to actually figure out a way to at least get the demand to raise that capital. So you got Tether right there. Circle, I think, has been down over the past couple of weeks. It's not really been performing that well. Circle, yeah, down another 3.74% of the day at 132.49. Now, CNBC is covering the Lithium America news. Okay, so let me go to that real quick, and then we'll get into that Bain article that I was talking about. Let's see what they have to say there.
Last couple of minutes on the Trump administration, according to Reuters here, seeking to take another equity stake in a major American company, in this case, a 10% stake in Lithium Americas. According to Reuters, the Trump administration is renegotiating the company's $2.26 billion Energy Department loan to develop the Thacker Pass lithium project. And as part of that deal, the U.S. government is now, according to Reuters, seeking an equity stake in the company. The Trump administration supports the project, and the project is seen as sort of one of the keynote ways for the United States to wean itself off of dependence on Chinese supplies for lithium, which obviously is so important in EVs, batteries, and other electronic components. A quote here in Reuters from a White House official, unnamed, saying President Trump supports this project. He wants it to succeed and also be fair to taxpayers, but there's no such thing as free money. Morgan, back over to you.
All right, Eamon Javers, thank you. Lithium America.
All right. Looks like Trump is looking for some more equity from some of these other companies that are obviously very vital to the American economy, and Lithium Americas is the next one. Remember, the Pentagon did take an equity stake in Materials Corporation along with Apple. So you have other parts of the government that are starting to take some of these equity stakes as well, especially if they think that those companies can be very vital for the business that they are operating in. Now, here's what the Bain study came out today and said in regards to AI. So these are the three main bullet points. AI companies will need $2 trillion in combined annual revenue to fund the computing power by 2030, but their revenue is likely to fall 800 billion short, according to Bain and Industry, meaning they're going to have about 1.2 trillion in revenue by 2030. But right now their revenue, but they need 2 trillion. They're only going to have 1.2 trillion. So there's an $800 billion shortfall. The AI industry's valuations and business model are being questioned due to the increasing popularity of services like ChatGPT and the rising demand for computing capacity. Bain & Co. estimates that the global incremental AI computing requirements could soar to 200 gigawatts by 2030, with the U.S. accounting for half of that, and warns that supply chain constraints or inefficient power supply could thwart progress. So the kind of core argument here, if you go deeper into the study, is, hey, there needs to be an ROI for all this CapEx. And right now that ROI is 800 billion short. Now, obviously, they're trying to make a projection for something 5 years from now, which is kind of hard to do, especially if we don't know exactly where AI is going. But this is the stat that a lot of the cynics would point to for the argument around, hey, like, this is an inflated bubble because there's just not going to be an ROI, not going to be enough of a return of capital to be able to justify that. I tend to agree with our friend Chris Camillo. He says investors are too polarized on AI. It's fine to me somewhere between the maxis and then all the cynics on NVIDIA. Still more questions than answers. Long-term, the maxis are likely right, but timelines are too aggressive. Which I would agree. I mean, long-term, the maxis are likely right. Yes, there are way more questions than answers. I mean, we don't exactly know what the ROI is going to be from all this AI CapEx spend. But studies like Bain coming out in 2025 saying that there's just not going to be any ROI in the next 5 years, or it's not going to be able to live up to the hype. Maybe it's right. If it's wrong, not having exposure to it obviously is going to be tough for a lot of institutional investors. And that's likely why they're buying versus selling a lot of these names. So you're getting some momentum there, and it's not too bad. Shout out to RF Andy in the chat. He says, it's my third day being retired. I like it so far. I love it. Andy, thank you for being here and spending your time with us on the market close as you are into your third day of retirement. Micron right there. That's up 3% after hours. Could not hold on to 174. Did get to 174.50 now at 169.50. Robinhood right there, 125.80. Palantir 182. Google at 251. And again, Lithium Americas, that one's still up by 60%. Was up 75%, then it was up 45%. Now it's up 60%. So it's very volatile after hours. 13 million shares, almost 14 million shares have been traded in the past 20 minutes. And that one is going back and forth. All right, not too bad. LAC getting some love. Getting some love, and it's starting to rebound. Micron tried to rebound, just not really able to get above this. Amit, I have 7 figures in HIMS. Am I crazy, or do you think this thing is going to go much higher? Look, I like HIMS. I think they do have a moat. I don't have 7 figures in it. I think in the world of AI, as we've been talking about for the past couple of months now, it's really hard to not have a sizable amount of the portfolio allocated to something rooted in AI. So I think if you're going to have 7 figures in an individual stock like a HIMS, which doesn't really have an AI tailwind, I mean, AI is going to help them, but it's not like an Oracle or, you know, TSM or Micron or anything like that. You've got to really be convicted on the stock. And so based on your thesis, based on your cost basis, based on how you conceptualize the future of HIMS, Like, yes, I think it's going to do well over time. The question is, do you want to be allocated to just one single name? And do you know every little detail about the FDA and Novo and the lawsuits and all that stuff? Those are the questions to ask. And if you do, then you're good to go. I mean, that's how I was with Palantir in 2022, right? I just learned every little thing I could about it, and that's why I was fine being all in. But I think that's the general philosophy when you're in pretty much one name. So that's what we got right there on Micron and LAC. That is the news after hours. Open Door, is that one still moving? Open Door, 722 up a little bit after hours, but still down from that overall 1080 level. And that one's still taking a little bit of a hit. Cool. All right. I think that's pretty much it. We don't have any other major updates. Let me see if there's anything else I missed. Again, there was a bit of work, or there was a bit of an announcement with Trump. We talked about that in the morning. Wasn't anything too crazy from there. We didn't see anything wild. Now, we did talk in the morning that Trump canceled his meetings with some of these Democratic leaders as well. And he's not going to be meeting with Chuck Schumer. There is a possibility of a shutdown in the coming days. So that's one thing that stocks definitely will react to. Here's what Trump said with Ukraine after the meeting with Zelensky, and then we'll keep going from there.
Rhetorically from the president on Vladimir Zelensky and Ukraine and that country's prospects in its war with Russia. Take a look at what the president posted just a short time ago. He's saying, after getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from which this war started is very much an option. The president here going on to say Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big...
Obviously, you can see that Trump is more on the side of, hey, maybe they should fight it out versus us negotiating an end to the war. And it's likely because Putin hasn't, cooperated in any meaningful way. Here's a little update from CNBC on Palantir, and then we'll keep going from there.
Take a look at Palantir. Today is the one-year anniversary of the company joining the S&P 500. Since its inclusion, it's up more than 370%. It's one of the best one-year returns for any stock in the index. It's also the third best performing S&P stock in 2025. Now, the company is on track for its seventh straight quarter of double-digit gains. Among the Mag 7, only Amazon matched that streak. Back in 1999, the stock has gotten expensive, though. It's got a forward PE of 240, and certainly that valuation has been a big talking point and continues to be for Palantir.
Oh, you love it if you own it. Well, despite rising chatter about caution, the market's still not leaning.
All right, folks, there you go. That's what we got. It is officially time for Technical Tuesday. For those that are new to the channel, for the next 2 hours, we're going to be going through all the technicals, aka male astrology of the stock market. If you don't care about technicals, you are free to leave, and you can come back tomorrow on the market open where we'll get back to fundamentals. But this is the one time of the week where we get, I think, the best TA guy on the planet, who is gracious enough to sit with us for the next 2 to 3 hours and try to do as many tickers as possible and get into the weeds of what's going on from a TA perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been too long, and it is time to roll the intro. What's up?
We made it.
We made it.
We did indeed. We did indeed. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Did you have Jason Nazi last time? Or did you have Asian Steve? I don't know what you had, but
should I change it?
But I like every week it's something new. It's something. Yo, have you watched Animal House?
I mean, in the 80s.
Okay, it's a good movie.
I just dated myself, by the way.
No, it's 1978 classic. It's a great movie. It's a really good one. Yeah.
So I'm actually older than you guys think. I told him it one day, and he was like, "You're what?"
How old are you again? You're like 30.
I'm old.
No, you're in your early 30s or late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, that would be. I'll take it.
Oh, I actually don't remember your age, but you don't look like you're old or anything like that. So
I have good genes.
you have good genes.
Good genes.
Well, Asians don't age, so
He's in his 50s.
he's not in his 50s. I don't think so. Anyway, dude, we got a lot to talk about.
I am an 80s baby. I will say that. I'm technically a millennial. I'm a millennial I'm a millennial, but I was such an old millennial. I never got invited to the millennial parties, like right there at the edge of millennial and Gen X.
So you're in your 40s. That's
okay, fine.
All right, we got a lot to get into. Obviously, today was kind of crazy. I'm assuming that Powell intraday swing definitely caught.
Yeah, I didn't know Powell was a stock market analyst, but apparently he decide if the market's too expensive or not. But yeah,
apparently he gets to have an opinion on that. So let's start off with the S&P, and then we'll get into all the requests. For those that have individual tickers, we're going to be here for like the next 2.5 hours. So please just be patient. We will get to pretty much every ticker. If we miss some of the tickers, then it is what it is, but we will get to a good amount of them. We're going to do all the main ones first, the NVIDIAs, the Pounters, the Hoods, the RKLB, SOFIs, all that stuff, and then we'll get into requests. Please, no small caps, no penny stocks that you can
get stocks that we can do TA on.
Yeah, stocks that actually you have volume to do TA on. And yeah, please just don't spam the tickers. We'll try to get to as many as we can. All right, S&P markets in general, are you bullish, bearish, and then what is the chart telling you?
Well, we can do this very simply. I'm gonna try and clean this up, but I don't really need to clean this up too much. I don't know what happened to my. Okay, reset. Okay, so you cannot see this, so I will go ahead and make this a clean line. I just put a little line right here. How's this chart looking so far? Can you guys see the numbers? I made small little updates. Just want to see in the chat. Does this look good? Can you see number? Amit, you're live.
Yeah. No, it's very good. It's very good. We can see all the numbers.
Okay. Yep. So this little yellow, this is actually last month. So that's July. So not last month, but the month before that. The blue is Friday the 12th, so the week before last. White you cannot see, but that is the daily high. All right, daily high and daily low. The lines I made ultra thick. To me, this looks like I'm drawing with crayons. To you guys, hopefully this looks like okay. So this box is the week before last. And if I make this like a 4-hour, then this should still show. And I do use extended hours on. So today is Tuesday, and I want to go to, where was Friday? There it is. All right. So last week, bingo, that is the one. So I've just shifted timeframes just a little bit. So 664.89, that should have shown up now. 664.89 right here. That's last week's high. So that kind of intraday pivot becomes a bit of a critical turning point. So where this comes from, that's Friday. That's last week's high. So we've talked about this concept a couple times in the show, and the concept is called the look above and fail. And so what that is where we look above the prior week and then fail, meaning we fail to continue higher. And
Jason, real quick, can you reduce the gain a bit on your mic? It's just a little hot.
Oh, reduce.
Yeah, reduce.
Reduce.
That's way better. That's perfect. Guys, let me know if that's better, but I think that's way better. Okay, you're good.
We can pop up, but this blue line, and you guys can screenshot this, do whatever, 664 spot 89. You want a round number, that's fine, 665. That's your critical level. We can pop up, and we might have something called a lifeline, which is like, hey, look, it looks good, but we need it to continue higher. This needs to that really needs to get above these two levels, 667 and a quarter, 665. If we can clear these two hurdles, hurdle 1 and hurdle 2, obviously hurdle 2, we're in the clear, but this is for most people going to be like that little hidden level 665. That's going to be crucial. And it's going to be, from a technical perspective, kind of your hidden pivot. I'll play this tape out here metaphorically, that if we do come back up and fail there, your pattern people are going to come in and they're going to start screaming head and shoulders. You guys know that I'm not a pattern person. I don't trade these, but just so you know, we do need to be aware that they are there. And this is what they're going to be screaming at the rooftop. Hey, the sky is falling, blah, blah, blah. Just so you know. And that's going to come in at 665. So just because we bounced there, if you're going to be a good bull, know where the bears are hibernating or where they're waiting in the winds, and they're waiting in the winds at 665. So what do you do with this information? You just know that if you want to be cautious, that's the point, if and when we get there, to take measures or to be cautious and not. This is where you do not want to press bets. I don't want to get aggressively long here. I can get aggressively long over 667, because that's when I know that anybody that got short here, if they started to short here, what's going to happen up here? Well, they're going to say, screw it. And they're going to cover their shorts, and we're going to create a squeeze to the upside, because any net new shorts, they had a very tight risk reward, is what we call that. Their position, if you're not familiar with this is a trade box. Their position would essentially look like this, where they would have a stop loss and they would be looking to take profit, something along these lines. This is their green, they would be red, and they would have actually a stop that very much looks just like this. And the second that they got that the market goes over 667, they would then close their short position, and the market would in turn squeeze to the upside. So that's why 667 becomes a critical point, at which point we would have a bullish squeeze to the upside.
Is the general trend to you higher, or is
the general trend is still intact? And so when you talk about trend, I'm going to use a tool called the regression trend. That's a channel. So the general channel is essentially this. And I'll make this a little bit thicker so everybody can see. That is the series of higher highs and higher lows. And that trend is fully intact. And so, yes, that is not broken. So I am not completely worried at that point. What we have done, though, is we have failed to continue higher. So,
and that might have been because of Powell today.
Very much could have been because of Powell. And so all that means to me is that, all right, we have to at least pause. So I'm not getting bearish, not getting bullish either. I know that, all right, the bears have something to chew on today. I have to take a step back and say, well, I'm not going to initiate anything really. Can I, if I have a bearish setup, I can feel free to take it. And there are two things that need to happen here. One, we just outlined the first, where are the bears going to get really hungry? That's at 665. Where, on the other hand, if this completely breaks down, where does this really accelerate? Well, the second white line is 662, and that's essentially today's low. And to your question, where does that channel really fail? And it's really just, it's going to basically be below today's low, is where it is. And I'd say right around 662. If you do continue lower, then their downside target from a short trading position and or a long trading position, where do I want to think about picking up or nibbling? That's going to be 654. So just around the midpoint of 650. And then is the first stop on the bus from the shorts perspective. So remember, when I did that short position, if that was my short position, that first target to the downside looked like this. They're going to cover their short position right around 655 initially. They might stretch it down to 650, which is going to be a balance zone here. So knowing this, that this is what a bear's trade looks like. So we want to know two things. One, this is what a bear is looking for. So a bear is going to give up over 667, that is where a short squeeze will begin. And a bear's like parade, bears on parade, whatever. They're really looking to get here, but they're going to be going away pretty much right around 650. And so if you're going to be a good bull, all right, cool. I'll step out of the way, Mr. Bear, but I'll be thinking to be looking to pick stuff up somewhere down here in this general area, because I also know that you're not going to be stupid greedy, and you're probably be covering your shorts somewhere between 654 and 650s in this area. Is that helpful? Hopefully that should be helpful. And that would be your general downside move if that happens. So two things to note. One, if we're over that 655, 667, boom, that actually could create a pretty funky dynamic that we have a short squeeze to the upside. If the bears are in control, you know at what point now that the bears are going to be in control in the market, and that's below 662s, and they will stay in control of the market down to around the 650s area, at which point the tide should tend to shift. Okay. That's it for the market. I would say one caveat. We had the high holy days, Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
The days. I'm not Jewish. But one thing to note on that is that volume will tend to die down a little bit, and on low volume, for the next 10 days, we may experience some low volume markets. And in low volume scenarios, we can get some exacerbated moves either to the downside or the upside. It's not necessarily one way or the other. And that's what creates some of these type of dynamics. That move to the downside could be fast, could be slow. It could be fast in either way. So it could be, we'll see, but just know that you could blink and it could be there because it's possible that we have a low volume environment in the next few days, in the next week or so.
All right. Next stock that has gotten, I think, 500 messages. So it seems like people.
Is it Amazon? Because I see it throughout here.
It is indeed Amazon. So what are you thinking about this one that is flat year to date?
I think they started the trial on Monday, right?
Are you talking about for the
for Prime subscriptions?
Yes, for Prime subscriptions. Yeah, yes, I believe so. And another thing they're doing is I think you and I talk about the same thing. If you live in a different address, you're not able to ship under one account to a different address.
No, we haven't talked about that.
Okay, so that's another thing that in August they said they were going to do, which is annoying. But
it's if you live.
So like I can't use my mom's Amazon account to ship to where I live for free with Prime. I would have to get like my own account.
You do that?
Yeah, I mean, like plenty of people do that. I mean, they have one Prime account for the family and they ship to different. Like my cousin in California uses my mom's account to ship for free to her. So October 1st, yeah. So that's stopping, which is definitely going to make me subscribe to Prime because it's like.
You don't have a Prime subscription?
No, I've been using my mom's Prime. We have one Prime subscription now. Why would we need multiple Prime subscriptions?
Okay, well, they should definitely do that.
It's like when Netflix took away the freaking like sharing thing.
I do that, dude. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Dude, I just bought Amazon today, and I realized that makes me more bullish.
They do that.
Yeah, dude. A lot of people do that.
I did not realize that was a thing.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. So
I kind of feel dumb, not gonna lie.
It's kind of bullish. It's gonna make me subscribe to Prime. So
out of the basement, time to pay. Oh god.
So what are you thinking about? I guess the trend here. I mean, the reason I bought it today is because I feel like S&P can't be bullish end of year, and Amazon's up 1% year to date.
Rip my girlfriend's Prime account.
Yeah, same thing with Netflix. Yeah, see, Jet says we have 15 addresses. Like a lot of people do this. A lot of people.
Okay. Well, you legitimately caught me off guard here. I'm feeling like not so smart right now. Okay. So do I need to do anything?
No, bro. Why would you need your kid is 2 years old. He's not like you don't have anyone who relies on you.
I'm just thinking I have Prime.
This doesn't affect your life. I'm just letting you know.
How do you know? Because like, can I not ship something to you?
No, not after October 1st.
Well,
Not
that's
for Prime.
stupid.
No, you can ship something, but it won't come in 2 days.
Well, that's a problem for me.
That's not a problem for Amazon because that's going to force them to get more subscribers.
Well, that's kind of. Anyways, yeah.
The chart. What do you think about the chart?
Okay, so this is broken, trendish. So there's something I don't really pull up that often. It was not super strong. So we had this earnings. First of all, earnings pop. There's a yellow box here. That's the monthly. And guys, the conversation matters because it's context of like what's going on with the stock. Sentiment matters just as much as the chart. Just so you know, and if I can't figure out, like, well, there's probably a lot of other people that are having the same kind of conversation. But here's the deal. It needed to get over 226 just from what's the word is like horizontal level from a supply and demand perspective. People use trend lines a lot in technical analysis, which are like our angled levels. You don't see me use trend lines a whole lot, which are, you say trend, that's that series of higher highs and higher lows. I do from time to time, but like it's not my main thing. And so Amazon does this thing a lot, and I just use a tool that I don't do very often. But because of the way that Amazon set up is that they had these really funky bottom wicks, and this is called a parallel channel. And we use when you have these funky wicks like this that are kind of piercing lines through the bottom of this. And you may or may not have heard me use the term about support and resistance as if it's like a trampoline. So like support resistance on a chart, it's not like a hard line in the sand. It's like you're bouncing on a trampoline. Like you can bounce and it can go down through, and sometimes you'll bounce up, right? But if you imagine that trampoline in your head, well, you can bounce on it so many times, and it's like you don't want the kid jumping out of the couch too many times because you're going to break the couch, right? And if this little channel was, let's say, the canvas in a trampoline, you bounce, okay, cool, bounce, boom, I'm jumping, I'm bouncing. Then I get the bounce, boom, cool. I come in, I bounce is bigger, come in, boom, small bounce, cool. And then this bounce, you broke the trampoline. You just broke it. And what happens when you break through? Well, you break through. And there's no more trampoline. Like there's no more, it's gonzo. So no, I'm gonna chill here. So this is done, right? And so now you have to wait and you wanna see. So now you have to just chill. You don't wanna jump in. So I heard you say your time horizon is gonna matter. So I heard you say that you bought some, cool. For me as a trader, if you put my trader hat on, I can prognosticate, like guess where the next support is going to show up. And I'll tell you, I can look at the chart and I can just kind of quickly see here, it's going to be around 211. And that's from that monthly high here and this monthly low here. But the sentiment, again, matters quite a bit. So what I just did was, this is that monthly candle. Here's this monthly low. I use this volume profile on the right-hand side. What this is, and I'll make this a little bit stronger. This is that halfway point between the prior month high and prior month low, or the current month high, prior month, August high, August low. The weekly low So last week's level is here. Last week's high is here. This is just gone, right? So today's candle, we just went and turned the week red, like deep red. So this is gone for now, and we're below all the significant simple moving averages. And so this line, 222.80, and I have a red line here. This is a quarterly level, is important here, which when I get double lines like this, doubly, this is going to be a hard resistance line. So it's very hard to get through here. This, if it does get back over 223, you could get a little chop, and it might look like it's going to be okay, but you got to be weary that it could do this still. So be very cautious.
So you would wait for kind of 215-ish to get more excited about it.
215. Yeah. 211.
So 211 would be your like actual buy signal.
So this is going to be similar to like the Palantir kind of one, where it's like, I need to wait for, you just broke through. I need to wait for this to really show me a new base of support. Two things can happen. Either this gets well above 225 again, because the bears are waiting. The bears are waiting here. 225 is, if you get a bounce from here up to 225, you're not safe. The bears are waiting at 225. So this can happen, and you can get a breakdown here. I'll just make this a little bit thicker so you guys can see it. Or I would take this trade, and this is probably the only trade I would take here, or over 226 here. This would look like that to me, over 226. That's when I know it's all good. And that's where I think the bears would kind of give up. Not where I think, but we've gone through this exercise just like we went over on like a Palantir recently, and we could review that trade too. But where if anybody was short down here, if anybody like just got short today, or anywhere in this area, if any bears were short in this scenario, they will definitively cover right here. All of this. That's for sure where they will cover, and you'll create a short squeeze at 226. So I will happily sit this out until I have it all clear. This is trading.
Yeah, I mean, over 226, you're clear to the bulls. Below 211, you're definitely clear for the bears. That makes sense.
Yeah. Or I believe that the bears will start to cover, and I'll be one of the two. And even down here, I think you'll start to see a consolidation happen, and there'll be some kind of consolidation that starts to happen here, and I'll have it'll probably be sideways for a while, but I'll have a new setup that will give me a trade after some sideways movement. It's not like just because it gets here, I'm going to jump in. No, probably not. But I'll have some kind of sideways movement that will give me a new setup to trade. One of the two. But you could have just sniped this low and be in down here, and maybe it makes its trajectory up, and then I jump in way later after the fact, and you do well. But as a trader, I can't jump in right here, right now, without a setup.
Okay. That is fair. Let's do this one real quick, and then we'll get into a bunch of the other main names. BMNR. How are you thinking about this one technically?
I think they just did the offering that everybody was waiting for. I think you can. I'm nibbling, but I'm not like super I don't have any like high expectations. I think you have to I think you have to look at Ethereum. It's a very similar setup. So I think the close to 40 was the best shot. But I think close to 50 here now is going to be your next best shot. So I think you go back to this scenario when we were looking at potentially this moment in time where we thought, well, I thought maybe just maybe BMNR could actually create a net new support line just for a couple moments in time. It was like, well, maybe it'll be okay. I firmly believe that we're going to see sub 4K Ethereum like very quickly if we haven't already. I'm not really checking the chart. I'm pretty positive that's happening like this weekend. If we haven't already, I think we saw it already actually, or maybe for a split second. But as close to 50 as you can is what I believe will be the best case scenario somewhere over here. And then that could be like 50, what is that, 47? So I'm not trying to be super picky because remember this whole thing, and this has not changed since the last time we talked about it. Over here, I was like, okay, over whatever this line was, 50 or 55. I'm like, we're going higher. We went higher, right? We didn't continue higher, but my sentiment then and now is the same, as that even if we don't completely break out, to me, it doesn't matter because all of this could still set up for an epic, like epic consolidation. That's just healthy in general. So yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I'm hanging. And again, even if this comes in and creates another higher low, it's still just a net consolidation. I'm good. Happy camper.
So 50, you would say
as close to 50, maybe sub 50. If you see it, it won't be for very long, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think you have to watch Ethereum. And I do think that you get that hefty pullback on ETH, which if you're going to talk about BMNR, if you don't mind, I think we should look at Ethereum like immediately after this. Because it's so very tied to it. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do ETH.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the typical. I don't know if I talked about it last on yours, but I know it was on my Monday trade plan. Very much your atypical Bart Simpson pattern. This is a crypto pattern where, like, you know, it's just Bart Simpson, right? The IREN. I don't even remember.
Every time I see The Simpsons, I think of you and this IREN thing that you taught us like a year ago.
I mean, it's not a thing. It's not my thing. It's like it's a real for real thing.
It looks like Bart Simpson.
Yeah. But so you get an inverse Bart Simpson. So it's just like that. You have this consolidation, right? You gotta just let it break down. It's gonna break down. It's gonna be fake out breakdown, but you're gonna get an inverse Bart Simpson. that's what that's gonna look like. This for sure. Like Bart Simpson. You have to look this up because this is like, and I know I do this, images. See, like, it's not me, Bart Simpson, and there is an inverse Bart Simpson, boom, right? Boom, boom, boom. So an inverse Bart Simpson, very much a thing. Yeah, I'm not making it up. Now you know, but it will come, and I think this is going to come around 35s. But this chart has been my setup since day one. And even at this day one, it's still, all right, you're going to get this set up. I don't know that it gets to 35s, but like it's possible. And see this post old triple top, you know, okay, no such thing as triple top. Nope, it broke through. But I think we can get close to a test of those, the triple peak. delete. It needs to get a delete. But I think these, you zoom out a little bit. And I'm actually going to go connect these dots. 4K is great, but we're going to create a little bit of a zone. So this is, I just tagged one over here. That's 43. We know that. I think we're slightly below that. This is 4K here. All of this is about 4K. And this is getting me to 35. So in this area, all of this red here. Yeah. I think you take the peak of this, and then I'm going to take a couple more. Oh, that didn't like that one. There. And I take that consolidation. So I'm getting consolidations roughly here is what we're going to call that a anchored for that consolidation high, and anchoring here. And this is giving me an anchoring area right around there, which actually is a slightly lower than what I was thinking, but I don't think we get that low. This is giving me around 35s. It's a rough number. That's definitely giving me around 35 here. And then from this last, I'm getting a little more confluence here. I know this is that last peak, so that has to hold around 4K, which I don't know that it will. One more piece of confluence that I need is, oh, there it is. There she be. So I don't think it's all the way that deep, but this to me is where it's going to be. I think 35 is aggressive in reality, but I think that if I start to see 39,
then it's heading lower.
No, that people will think that it's heading lower. That's where I think you start ending.
So you are a dip buyer at 39, even with the potential downwind to 37.50.
I'm not buying ETH, but I would be buying BMNR.
Okay, gotcha.
Right
and at 37.50ish, I mean, ETH probably. I mean,
yeah,
BMNR
because I think this goes right in here. So you're gonna get some. So I think you breached the 4K. I think you let it breach the 4K, and crypto goes so fast. Right. This is going to happen in a Saturday night, middle of the night. It's just going to be, it's going to be like this. And then this wick is going to be like poof, like 2 seconds. You're not going to see it. It's going to be like a half-second blip on the radar. You won't even know that it happened. And then, but most of the consolidation is going to happen in here. That's my gut. So if you saw it in there, great, right? But I'm dead serious. Where it's if it gets there, it's just gonna be quick, like futures liquidation. Not much is actually happening.
And everyone's saying Tom Lee will just buy it all up. I mean,
bingo.
He's not
even. I don't even know Tom Lee's gonna be that fast. But you guys are gonna hit this before Tom Lee.
He might not be fast enough to get it.
Yeah. So the way that this works is if you don't own it. If you don't own Ethereum right now, first of all, I don't know what's happening. I listened to Amit and the Milkman and these guys talk about crypto. And to me, it's like, I joke, but like, listen, crypto is where I started. It was my core. It's my beginnings. I only have one bet left. I only have one real large bet left in the cryptoverse, and that's Avalanche. That's it. Everything else, look, I've been there, done, like, this is it. It's all like, I don't know, 100x. So it's like not really that big of a deal to me. Like, it's okay. But, I think that people are like just now realizing it. So sure, if you don't have it, I mean, I think you should own it. I've owned enough personally. I'm not going to buy anymore. I've sold more than I every time I think about selling it, it's like that was dumb whenever I've sold it. So I'm not going to sell anymore. But yeah, the only thing I was thinking about accumulating was the Avalanche, and now I think I'm done accumulating that also. But I think if you don't, then anything in here would be ideal. But I don't think this is going to last very long. I think most of that accumulation is going to be in here, and it could be a while. It should be a while to go sideways before it gets back up, and then you have the inverse Bart Simpson. But this is crypto, and this is super typical. So if you're not familiar with this, this is how this universe works.
Okay.
Did you see my Avalanche Treasury? That happened?
I did, yeah. What's his name? Scaramucci is on.
I know.
The board. Yeah.
Well, I can't. Beggars can't be choosers. But but there was one. An Avalanche Treasury showed up.
Well, I mean, they're doing treasuries for Solana. They have a treasury for WorldCoin, Solana. I mean, I think DATs are going to become more and more prevalent. Yeah. Okay, Palantir.
Okay.
By the way, you said 173 would get us back to basically all-time highs, and you were right.
Yeah. Someone says why Avalanche? It's the fastest blockchain. Period. So my last, yeah, it's the hyperscale layer 1 fastest blockchain, and reports. That's it. But yeah, so just like if you guys haven't learned something, like I like these teachable moments, and so sometimes it takes me to a tangent. But if you guys go back to last week's Technical Tuesday, hopefully y'all learned something on how these moments work in the market. 173.32, that was a big deal. And if you guys saw this, that moment was in fact the moment that you got that explosive move, right? 171, they started to give up, and boom. And where did we say that technically that we were going to go? Look at that. Maybe not exactly higher, but very like just you want to undercut it just slightly. And so this is the magic, the black magic, if you will, maybe whatever, of male astrology, technical analysis. How do we get here? How do we measure this? How do we know exactly when and how? It's right here. Where do the bears cover? Boom. This is a trade, right? Can this trade go higher now? I think maybe it can, but we need to know when and how. And so the when and how is very simple. It's definitely not giving it up, right? It's 183s, give or take. We have one more little blip, and it's trying real hard, right where this has stopped, 184. And this low here, what we're going to do, let me just make this a solid line. This is Thursday's high right here. That's 178.80. Interestingly enough. And we come in, this was that target. So there's a little target symbol, 183. That was the target. We're not getting a close over that target. So what we need definitively is we actually need a close over 184. We get a close over 184, and my sentiment is game time. We're getting really close, not quite. In the meantime, we are holding over this Thursday high, which is nice to have, but not going to be enough. Really close to that close over 184. Once that comes in, yeah, we're game time. But game time is to what? Game time is to 190, which is nice. Then again, we need that close over 190. And we want to also at the same time have those closes above 185. Once that happens, it is 220. And when 220 arrives, that number comes from the expansion of this entire section here having become a consolidation breakout, which another one, but a big
real quick, Jason, before we continue, the update for why Oracle and NVIDIA are getting a little pump after hours. OpenAI has officially expanded their Project Stargate with 5 new data centers in the US. No updates on which states yet. Oracle and SoftBank will be key contributors. Oracle is up, and NVIDIA is likely up based on the fact that there's more GPUs that are going to be bought and deployed in these data centers. So that's
nice. So I posted this on my Twitter. So, I mean, it might be easier if you guys follow the Amit post my Twitter every now and then, but I did post this. So when this happened to me, I immediately actually went into measuring this out to the 220s because almost all of this becomes like now I can actually plan this whole thing. So trajectory pathing becomes, look, we need to come here. We need to come here. We can have a little bit of pullback, but once you get this formalized breakout, that's what this can become. And you just want to make sure that you're continuing to lock in these higher highs and higher lows. So mostly the higher lows are important. So yes, if 177 is now that next higher low, we can battle with that. That's fine. We don't at any point in time want to lose that 173, right? If we lose that 177, we know, you should know from a trading perspective, you are definitely going to go back to 172. If you lose 172, you are definitely going to go back to 166 and so on and so forth. But this is trading. You've defined these ranges and you lose one range, you go back to the prior one, so on and so forth.
Okay, there you go. Tesla holding 400 for a week. What are you thinking?
I think it's good so far. I mean, this is the direct trajectory. So similar deal. It didn't continue higher. I think that, so my trade, well, I'm not going to talk about my trade because it is what it is. We're here to talk about the equity. And I think that this has come a long, long, long ways. Might need to take a break here in a second. And I think that this is probably going to come back in and possibly hold for a minute. So taking a bit of a rest somewhere around 400, 420 makes a lot of sense to me. Kind of catches baseline. You asked me last time if it came back down to 390, would that be normal? And I said yes, but when I'm not going to trade for it, do I have a hedge on? Sure. To sustain that is Tesla. So could it? It can. Right now, I think that it just a small little look above and fail. It could be potentially coming back in to collect some more liquidity. I'm not changing my tune on this, period, end of story, in terms of 600 by next year. It's just, to me, it's happening. So we're very much on track. Can this come back in around 420 and hang, and like let this volatility come back in? I'm happy for that. Very happy to see that. But yeah, this was a big struggle point in the past. So to see this kind of come back and get retested and possibly even see a new base show up now, this makes sense to me. So I would like to see this kind of chill and around this 420-ish area. And I'll zoom in a little bit. See here, where we used to have these little bounces. This might just be just underneath 420. Honestly, I had thrown in orders, dude. Like, I threw in orders just in case at like 380. I deleted those. So like, it's not coming down. It's not coming down. So just in case I had to pull back, but because I didn't have a full like equity, I would just options. Anyways, detour. I think around this price here, we might see a little consolidation. And unless it doesn't hold, it's possible that this comes down. If it does do something like this, then okay, 380 is coming. But otherwise, I will assume that the uptrend is intact. Regardless, I think you get a consolidation in this general area here. And then the next move begins, whether or not that's upside or small downside, TBD. But this has now had a big move. Markets run, and then they rest, and then they run after that. We just have to see what the next direction is.
Okay. NVIDIA, big deal yesterday. Stock kind of sold off. How are you thinking of that?
Did it sell?
About 3%.
I mean, that's not bad.
I mean, it's above 165, so I'm not complaining because it was below 180 for like 3 weeks.
Dude, how Jensen came in like out of left field with that interview with Sam, like, hey, dude, honestly, this chart was looking like doo-doo. It was looking like it was about to collapse, and then whoop, reverse course. That's how she does. But yeah, we're still in the range. This chart has actually, believe it or not, this chart has not changed since we looked at it last at all. And it was like, look, same thing. This was last month's low, and we were like last technical Tuesday, and I'm pretty positive I said the same thing. I would wait till you have lower lows, because you don't want to get your face ripped off shorting it too early, because I'm pretty positive we said exactly this. Even though this looks ugly, I don't want to get trapped, because this is technically not good looking setup. And we had not broken below that monthly low. And then sure enough, face ripper right back, like fake out breakdown right back to the highs. But you still also don't want to push that bet to the upside either, because gotcha, not breaking out. So completely sideways 184. You really need to wait till this is completely out of bounds. And I mean like fully out of bounds one way or the other. And the last time we talked, it was like, we talked about this 168. That was literally here. 168 was there. It's just a regular buy. Discount levels being in the 158s, 158s down here with this order block over here, which we still haven't seen. So it's not like overly discounted. Nothing's really changed from the technical perspective, other than the sentiment, which that has changed. And again, sentiment matters. So that is what's changed, but this is still, the sentiment is taken it out of a potential breakdown, but it hasn't been enough to put it into a breakout mode. So steady as she goes, but not breaking out yet.
Good thing is we're at least holding 4 trillion. Pretty.
Oh,
nicely.
I mean, yeah, it was on the verge.
It was on the verge.
But yeah, again, that 168, that high 160s, 170, the high 160s, yeah, just held right here. Did not do it. This is your discount level. Still remains the discount level.
Guys, the reason I think Cypher is pumping after hours is because of this Oracle news. I don't have anything specific on Cypher, but Cypher, IREN, all these data center plays likely getting a little bit of love because Oracle is officially expanding the 5 data centers in the Operation Stargate, which is a $500 billion commitment over the next 4 years to expand data centers. So, I mean, there's going to need to be a lot of energy in order to, not a lot of energy and a lot of compute capacity in order to make this real. And that's why it looks like those are running. Can we do those two real quick, Jason, before we move on? Cypher and IREN.
Are they really saying that my charts are hard to read? Like, are they really having a hard time? Like, is this hard to read, or are they're trolling?
I mean, it maybe one person said that, but I don't see.
Okay.
I don't see that. Cypher and IREN. I mean, any thoughts on just those general data center plays in the charts?
IREN. I mean, so we did this also last Technical Tuesday, and if you go back to that timestamp, it played out picture perfect as well. So we said last Technical Tuesday that this would pull back to 34, and then it would make its way to 45. Look at where this stopped, 45, 40. So, okay. So sue me. Sorry, don't sue me actually, but 44 and change with the lows somewhere around close to 35. And that was a measured move. Just like when we're measuring these moves, it's like this to here, pull back to here, pull back to here. So now we'd have to do the same thing. And you measure this. All right. So here to here. Now you're looking for a pullback to about 38, which is going to be down to here. Here. And if that course stays the same, it was the same extension, then you're okay. Then you're looking at 47.5 here. So you're looking at $38.81. We're going to call this your entry, and roughly 47 target. You might want to front run that a little bit. So I say 39 entry, 47 target for your next kind of move. If the logic stays the same, which it was almost picture perfect last time.
And then Cipher, CIFIR.
CIFIR.
Or sorry, FR.
I don't know this one.
It's another Bitcoin miner turned data center. But the charts on all these look crazy, right? They all just were stuck and then they exploded.
Okay, so this did do that. But I don't see the pullback here. I don't know that this is as clean
as an IREN.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, guys, Cipher, again, I think it's moving after hours because also there is an argument that the market thinks they will be intimately involved in this deal with Oracle and OpenAI.
I can't get the pullbacks like I could on IREN. I can only get the breakouts. Which this is telling me that you're there. So I'm only getting the breakouts and that's basically telling me do not press that bet, that you're going to get another consolidation, which has been 2 days. Basically 2 day consolidation. This is like 2 day consolidation because it's new. 5 billion market cap. So it's like a 2 day consolidation, and then you measure that, and then you can get an extension. Actually, is that? It is that. Okay. All right. I might have to eat my words. All right. So 1470.
All right. That's fair.
Hold on, I got it. So it's 1466, 1805. What do you call this? This is astrology.
This is pure astrology.
but so this is astrology. But when you don't have anything else to go off of, everybody else is using astrology. This is self-fulfilling astrology because there might not be a whole lot else to go off of.
Okay. Hoodie hit new all-time highs. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking fundamentally or technically. Which one do we want?
Well, it's Technical Tuesday. So what does the chart tell you?
Okay.
Fundamentally, we know how you feel, but
no, I don't think they do. But technically, 123. Last week we said, look, if we're trending over 120, we know what's happening. And yeah, there ain't no bears in this house, baby. But I still think that I don't know if you're talking to them about this event contract shenanigans, but I'm so serious.
Dude, literally Piper Sandler raised the target to 140 today just because of the prediction markets. That was the main thing they cited.
Okay, well, even Juan, who is like doing a lot of work here trying to track this, I spent some time with them. Like, no, it's so understated. Like, this is easily $250,000 straight to the bottom line by end of year.
Yeah, Piper said 200 million by the end of next year.
No,
which is massive.
This year, dude, it's not even.
They're not going to make $200 million by the end of this year. That's
dude.
No, it's
dude,
literally it's not even possible, bro. Even if they did 5 million for the next 10 weeks, that's not possible.
It's like
not this year. Next year, I'm with you. This year,
no, this year it's crazy,
dude. They're not doing $200 million off prediction markets in 4 months.
Yeah.
They would have to do more than $10 million a weekend. That's not possible. That's not happening.
Look at it.
No, the most they've done so far is 2 million in a weekend. I mean, they're not going to 5x that every single week for the next 10 weeks.
But they will.
I'd actually bet you a lot of money that's not like I'm bullish, but like that's just not mathematically.
Well, it's because you don't know the Super Bowl trends.
Okay, so then let's bet, bro. I'll bet you like 20 grand. They're not doing that much money. Not happening. No, but the point is, like, this is a massive new market.
It's ginormous. Okay, by Super Bowl, which is February, between now and February, they should do like $200 million. Between now and February.
I think that's still a stretch, but
which doesn't include March Madness, which is going to be massive. Because do you still have CFB or like college football, NCAAF, and what nobody can track now that they've what you don't even have is like they just now opened this spreads and overs. I would put a poly market bet on it. I absolutely would.
For you to take your argument seriously, like they're doing 2 million a weekend. We have what? 15.
No.
They would have to do 12 million a week.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that's
possible. It's just really aggressive for them to do that.
I think that's an understated number. Because I think they're doing more than that because nobody knows, right? And first of all that's tracking that only tracks what's stated volume at the end of the game. But I'm telling you, as a user, like it doesn't account for anybody that closed the contract intra-game. So if you close the contract in the middle of the game or before the game ended, it's not counted because the volume goes down during the game. The only way volume goes down during the game is if you sold it. And if you watch the contracts, it goes down. Like, so it's not counting anybody that sold the contract. And if that's correct, that's like, dude, that's a lot of contracts. Like nobody holds these contracts through, especially in college football. Like, whoa, that's a lot. But anyways.
Well, it's good for us because that's like 95% margins on those, right? Like,
right,
100% margin.
It's double, and it's double commission.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think? 130, 135? Where are we going?
So I think that some people will front run this event contract move, right? So we did just get to the congrats to the hoodies. What do we call these? What are we called?
Hoodlums.
Hoodlums. To the hoodlums. First week official in the S&P 500. So that's big. It's a big deal. Big deal. Holding over last week's high. One of the few stocks to be holding over last week's high. Up 11 or whatever it is to doing the same. So 125 is going to be a big deal intra week. I think that's important. So we do have to note that. That's 125.22. If we lose that this week, then fine. We can come back in a little. We can come back in a little bit. Your boy will probably be buying more, and your boy will probably be buying even more at like 120s, like 123, probably even more. But I think that any of that kind of shenanigans would probably lean into this. I'm going to try and take my sentiment out of it, but that said, as long as we're over 125 and a quarter, it's all good. And this little area in here is still that bit of a consolidation. If I pull this back, what we had measured here was essentially this consolidation, which was taking us still to this 150 area. Did I do this on your show, or was that mine? I don't know, but I'm here.
No, this was my show. I remember you mentioned. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm very much in the 150 camp.
By end of year?
I think that it can attempt to front run that by end of October, which means that not to be there, but the trajectory of that, which looks like 130's first stop. And you have to make sure that, okay, to be on track for this, 130's first stop looks like it looks like 128 first target, and there's pathing. So we use pathing, right? So the first path is here. If we can get to, as long as we're holding over 125 and a quarter, then we are on track to hold this first path to 130s. So this is that first path. Like, we're still on track for this first path though. So for right now, this is the path that we're on, as long as we're holding it here. If we're not, then we have to assume that we're actually going to pull back. And that pullback does look like a pullback to here, which in this case, the dip buys become in that 118 area. So this is the critical level. It's that 125, give or take, somewhere in here. This is the path, right? So as long as we're over 125, cool. There's no dip buys for me down here until we're close to 120. That's where you have some kind of value add from a dip perspective. That's where that value dip will show up, right in this area. It's kind of same thing, right? The bears have already given up doing this, but if it goes below 125, that's when they're going to get a little bit more aggressive, and I don't want to be in their way. I'll let them do their thing. I have a value add dip buy just around that 120 area. Is it fine to get a little dip here if you don't own it? Yeah, sure. If you don't own it, or if you really, really like it, I might even do it. But I know that like the real value for me is nearer to 120s, quite frankly. And this dream of the 150s, it really needs to hold this, or as long as it's over 125, that's when that dream is alive. If it loses 125 at any point, okay, well, that dream needs to be put on the sideline. But again, even if it does come down, that's fine. It can come down. It's like this. If it comes back over, well, the dream's back alive. That's all.
If it loses 120, do you think that's bad, or that dip you think gets bought?
No, these are pathing, right? So like the dream can still be here, right? Like these are levels. This is trading, right? So each one of these levels works like this. Like it can go up, it can go down. These are paths. So like paths that a stock can take. Again, it can go just like this, and they can essentially become consolidation zones too. So like they can consolidate, stock goes sideways, and then poof, and then goes sideways, and then poof, sideways, poof, like that. But this would be in a series of higher highs and higher lows. Essentially what this says is this is that higher high, and this would be that higher low, and this would be your higher high, this would be your higher low, higher high, higher low, so on and so forth. So again, where is my higher low possibly going to show up? Well, it would show up right here because this was my last low. So to your question, where would the dream really get crushed? I mean, dude, the dream's really crushed below 100. I mean, that's it.
I would agree. I think that makes sense. Grabby grab. Thoughts on this one?
Well, it's looking good this morning. Although the whole market was looking really good this morning.
Yeah, and then Jay Powell had to speak.
I just didn't know he was a market analyst.
I didn't know he doesn't usually say anything about stocks, but today he spoke his mind.
Do you remember that one time when Trump came out and he was like, he had CNBC up on a laptop?
Yes. Yeah.
That was so funny, man. He might as well have done that. Powell should have like one-upped him or something like that. But technically, Grab is on what we call an inside day, so it didn't go up. It didn't actually go down. So this is very sideways. The whole market kind of sideways. It looked strong in the pre-market. $6 remain like this is fine. You're looking a little tipsy around that just under 6 moment. It would be nice to see if that $6, because it made such a big hefty run so fast. It would actually be nice to see a $6 support
Agreed.
like actually be established somewhere in here.
It's only been a week and a half holding 6, so that would be very important.
Yeah. So, but like, you know, if it just goes so far, so if this becomes, yep. Okay. So if this becomes the top, let's say that is the top from this breakout area. So now that we have a bit of what we're going to go ahead and assume that this is exhaustion. Let's go ahead and assume that this is the top of this press. If I took this from the absolute lows, the absolute midpoint is 570s. Oh, there it is. Worst case pullback is 570. But that's still a bullish pullback. And then if
570 would get a lot of people ready to buy that dip. At least.
Well, yeah, hold on. But we have this last consolidation right here. So here's this breakout. We have a breakout point right here from a quarterly level. So I have a measure from the absolute lows. Then I have a measurement from this breakout point, which is actually getting me right here. And then I want one more, which is showing me right here. So every time, even at these little blips, this is crazy. This is still pretty bullish, dude. Each one of these is showing me a pretty bullish hold. Pretty bullish holds. As long as these hold, because what we're not seeing is that when you look at these at this very small, from this very small perspective, each one of these is a measured hold, oddly enough, right in here. So 616 right now, I'd say is the current aggressive pullback right here. So you lose 627, you should see 616. If you lose 627, you should see 616. Is it a good one? It's an okay one. You're $6 to see a consolidation around $6, I think would be, I think is going to be your new fair value. And then deep discount level is going to be around 570 for right now. Deep, but $6 might be as good as you see.
Okay, that's fair. Rocket Lab.
Unless something changes fundamentally. Rocket Lab, that's had some news. So it's sentiment news. Ooh, it's getting close, man. Remember the bad bears? Just the bad bears just did such a, like, it didn't change. Like they try as they might. Remember? They tried so hard.
42.
And there was even the dilution or whatever, shelf offering. And nope, didn't even get close. The Bears just like, I knew it. They didn't do it. They couldn't do it. The Bears in Rocket Lab just like, what are you doing? Anyways, congrats to Matt. He's doing good work over there. I think they had some rockets be delivered or something, or at least ship and deliver. So Rocket Lab ASTS had a nice little bid today. It's good. It's not a breakout. It's solid. I don't think it's going anywhere. Though. I mean, it's not going down. I think you're in a NVIDIA type scenario, but what's a good hold here is $50.90. So if you can hold over this, that would be very good. It's a very solid longer term consolidation, meaning this is now over 2 months of very high and tight price action. Let me clean this up just a little bit. Upside trend line intact, and you are channeling up, piercing this, kind of trending right around that. So quite frankly, if Rocket Lab can just hold this like spaceship type trajectory, that would be ideal. And channel like a SOFI channel. I think that would be best case, but it doesn't look like it's going to. This actually looks like it's gearing up to try to break out. So far you've got 1, 2, 3 here. If this consolidates, we're going to go ahead and do this for you. Boom, into 63s is what this looks like. So let's say this actually breaks out. The problem here is that you have this little blip on the radar to really, at this point, click to hold over. So not this attempt. So 1, 2, I think you need 2 more attempts. So now you have 1, 2, I think you need a third attempt and that'll fail. And so this white line is from this inception. What I drew here, this is this current uptrend. So what this puts you is like a bit of a Tesla type trade. So this is going to lend itself to options and leaps. And I'm going to leave it there. But trade location is going to matter. If you're into this trade, what I would say is that connect these dots, these lows, 1, 2, 3. This is August 2025, August 20th. This is September 5th. And then somewhere around September 22nd. So take a little line. I want you guys to connect those 3 tops. 3 bottoms, and you should get a trajectory like this. Whenever Rocket Lab is really close to that, and it'll probably line up with your 20-day simple moving average, as close to that as you can, wherever that happens to be, that's where you want to kind of, that's where you would, in this technical setup, where you would accumulate trade location wise. Accumulate as close to that as you can, because this is going to take a minute to break out. It's a long consolidation. So this is going to take a considerable amount of time. If and when it does, it's going to be 1, 2, 3. On the 4th attempt, then it'll go. but not before then, which means that trade location, building into a position with patience. Must have patience here. Patience is your friend. Cool.
Okay. SOFI, 30.
Did it close at 30?
They didn't close at 30, but flirting with 30.
Oh, it's flirting. I mean, dude, what are you going to say about SOFI? Has this outperformed Hood?
Year to date, I don't know. SOFI.
I think it might have, dude. Let's be real.
Year to date, it's up 105. Hood is up 219.
Ooh.
But I mean, still incredible.
I mean, it's really good. Really good. I mean, the last 6 months, it might have even. I mean, anyways, they're both really good. No, I can't press it. So this is the weekly level. So Hood is like one of the very few that's holding. S&P is probably helping that. But 2963 is that weekly level. It's gotten below that, so you do have that little bit of a look above and fail. This and for all intents and purposes, every upside target here has been acquired. So that lends itself to more of a like relax, chill. Now you look for a pullback. Plus, apparently Powell says that it's time for a pullback. So there's that. And that pullback would probably be somewhere in this general area. I like to look for these things. And that's going to probably lend myself to 2775, 2780, give or take. Would be your deeper value, not deeper, but trend value somewhere around this general area for the next trade-ish location. And then if that happens, then okay, cool. Oh God. Really? It's very assumptive here. But I think I'm just looking at this, and that's pretty much how this has been going.
Does the chart give you any indication that this could really like head to 50, 60, 70, like make a run like that, or it's hard to tell from the chart?
Well, not in this context. I can only do it in this context. No.
Okay.
You like 45 would be like maximum velocity. Like really somewhere around the 40s.
Tanner has that same price target, but for next year, he has 40.
Yeah. That's we're talking possibly 2027s. But yeah, you're talking, but when you have those kind of like timelines, like that has to, you can have these technical targets like that, fundamental sentiment, there's going to be so much weight when you have the longer timeline that your trade is going to have to take, the longer the amount of time that the trade is going to require, the more that your fundamentals and sentiment is going to come into play, right? Like it's just what happens. So as close to or below 28 would be the next kind of trade location. And then all things considered, assuming the market sentiment stays, ideally you break through 30 and you see 32s, high 32s on the next round for SOFI.
Okay. AMD. How are you thinking about this one?
It's not going down at the moment. It's toughy, but it's still stuck. It's very much stuck. It stopped going down, so I don't have a lot of discount from sellers. I do have some. It's constructive, but I'm not seeing the sentiment this could pop, actually. This could pop like at any second, but I'm not seeing the interest that I would like to have. I'll tell you the levels that the interest will show up at and where I will be more convinced. And that's over like 162.5. So over 162.5, I will be a little bit more convinced. We'll call it break of structure, 162.55-ish. Really, definitely, definitively over that 50-day simple moving average. But my guess is that if we go over 162.5, then really we would just be blasting through that 50-day simple moving average. And it's a lot of this chop, right? So before this, whoever was buying here, and then turned into sellers here. See this a lot of chop in this range, these guys. So a lot of what we're going to call like indecision. A lot of indecision, just generally speaking, right here. And so far, I'm not seeing the buyers able to overwhelm these sellers. And so as of late, these sellers, these people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a bunch of times, whoever was buying here, they're not able to get over this wall of sellers. So while the buyers have showed up down here at 149, just below 150, that's cool. They started to show up slightly in this 155, but these buyers right now, if I were to describe the current AMD buyers, is probably not politically correct. They're cheapskates, dude. The current AMD buyers are cheap and they're not willing to buy over 160. And so for that reason, the sellers are still able to overpower those buyers. That's the story of the price action of AMD right now. If I were to read this price action like a book, this is what this book is telling me right now, is that there are buyers and they're interested, but they're only interested in AMD at a discount, which reads as they're interested in AMD long time. They're not interested in AMD short term. And short term, they're willing to put up with some kind of indecision here and wait out these short-term sellers because they're only willing to buy it at a bigger discount down there. Until this story or market sentiment changes, I will know that by this right here. And I'll know that when this resistance turns into support. This is the story of price action. That's actually how you read support and resistance, like a book. But this is what this book says. Hopefully that was a teachable moment.
Can you explain, someone asking filling the gap, can you explain a little bit more about what you mean by that? Or you can talk about it, the general concept. I know you don't necessarily always believe in gaps get filled, but.
They don't. I don't believe in filling the gap. Where did that come from? Did I reference that?
No, I think that someone's just asking in general. Like, I'm sure there's some people looking at AMD and thinking there are gaps that have to be filled in order for it to take a leg down, then go higher. I mean, how would you kind of think of that as a general philosophy?
I would definitely not. Like,
so you think the sort of like stagnant price action has nothing to do with any gaps that have to be filled?
No, I actually have hard rules about that, but we can do that. Then we teach that stuff. We have rules about that. We teach it, So first of all, there are reasons. We're going to stop the timer. I can teach it briefly. There are different types of gaps. I have extended hours on my charts for a reason. And that's because there are different types of gaps. If I turned, so right now there's a gap on this AMD chart right here. This white line, this is a hard gap, and we call this a session gap. This is a session gap, meaning that there is literally zero volume here that was traded. Poof. Zero. That was traded on AMD. Volume just disappears. Overnight. This is like we call overnight gap. It's called a session gap. Zero, zip, zero, nil, nada, volume. That's a true gap, right? If I turn regular trading hours on, there's gaps all over the place. But I don't count any of these, right? Gap, 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 gap. That doesn't matter. I turn on extended hours because, let me ask a quick question to the audience. Do stocks trade after hours?
Yes.
Do people buy stocks after hours?
Yes.
Okay. So do I need to know if stocks traded after hours? Yes.
Probably.
So by that just sheer understanding of how stocks operate, like I should turn on extended hours. And no, therefore those overnight gaps don't really, they don't count, right? So filling that gap, don't count it. And so I need to know when a true gap exists and when it doesn't exist. And so that's why I have extended hours on. And so, yes, there is one down here, but sometimes not all gaps actually fill. Sometimes close enough is good enough. And there's a way to measure close enough. And in this instance, this probably is exactly close enough right here. And anyways, this is I could go down the weeds, but
no, good. That's good in and of itself.
There are some things called exhaustion gaps. There are runaway gaps. There are overnight gaps or session gaps, and each gap tells a different story in the certain type, right? So this is called an exhaustion gap right here, where yes, technically if I click this extended hours on, this will look like this will look like a gap in the chart. But again, why I have this extended hours on is because I want to know that did volume actually trade, and in fact it did. If you don't have that on, you won't see this. But exhaustion just means that price was really trying to go higher, but it was just simply exhausted. It's a temporary thing. Price action was exhausted, and it's a temporary pull down. And I do get a gap down here that's a real, actual hard gap. This gap ended up being filled quickly. Another gap, right? An actual gap ended up getting quickly filled. We call this liquidity, like a session gap, quickly filled, and price closed above it, which gave this price action enough time to make another run at this resistance, which in fact it did very quickly, just the very next day. And knowing that this was an exhaustion gap, again, knowing the different types of gap, and knowing that this session gap existed here, knowing that the price closed above the session gap this day, and the very next day it was opening above that pre-market low, boom, this creates a trade instantly. And where does this trade take you? It takes you all the way up here instantly in a single session. But this is how you trade gaps. Like, again, do all gaps fill? No. Like, is it just that simple? No. But you have to know every kind of gap and like how they work.
Okay, guys, let's give Jason a couple minutes of a break. We'll listen to Sailor on CNBC, and then we will get into the final hour of some of these tickers.
Yay.
Okay, there's a lot to get to. But first, I do want to start with the fact that there are reports that you were in Washington last week meeting with policymakers about this strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. How are you advising lawmakers right now, and why is the case there to create a strategic reserve?
Well, I think Bitcoin's good for the nation, and then the country would benefit. We did buy something like 78% of the entire United States for about $40 million over the past 100 years or so. So I think the United States ought to own a large part of cyberspace, and Bitcoin is the next frontier.
What does it do to prices, especially as they've been chopping sideways, even coming off a little bit recently?
You know, I think the real story in Bitcoin right now is corporate adoption. We've got a consistent acquisition of Bitcoin by the big ETFs like BlackRock, and that's taking up all the natural supply, and they're doing that on behalf of institutional investors. But these 180 companies that are capitalizing on Bitcoin are buying even more than the natural supply being created by the miners, and they're putting upward pressure on the price. And I think that as we work through the resistance of late and some macro headwinds, we'll actually see Bitcoin start to move up smartly again toward the end of the year.
At the beginning of this year, you and I in January sat down, had an hour-plus conversation at the ICR conference about this very idea, Bitcoin treasury, what you were doing at Strategy, and where it made sense for others to potentially adopt a similar concept as well. What are the types of companies that you're seeing lean into this? And at what point do you think it starts to accelerate if it does?
Well, I think you've got two types of companies. You've got operating companies that would otherwise be returning their capital via dividends and buybacks, or they would just be holding low-yielding money markets. And they're choosing Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, so that actually improves their capital structure. It strengthens those companies. There's a lot of those. And then there's a second sort of company, the true treasury companies. They're capitalizing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital gold. The world ran on gold-backed credit for 300 years. The world's going to run on digital gold-backed credit for the next 300 years. So treasury companies, in essence, are holding digital capital and creating digital credit instruments on top of that digital capital. And there's, of course, a huge demand for equity and credit instruments in traditional capital markets. And Bitcoin is emerging as the ideal form of digital capital to back those instruments.
Yeah, and I want to dig into that a little deeper here, Michael. But first, I mean, gold's having a huge run right now, too. It's at $3,800 an ounce. It's basically trading at record after record this year. But Bitcoin hasn't sort of moved lockstep. So how to think about that analogy in this environment?
JP Morgan said gold is money, everything else is credit. This morning I said Bitcoin is money, everything else is credit. The success of gold is indicative of the demand of mainstream investors to have a bearer instrument that's a long-term store of value, that's not a currency derivative and doesn't have counterparty risk to a corporation. Gold fits that bill. Bitcoin fits that bill even better, and it's sort of got the digital upside. You know, you can't teleport gold, and you can't program gold to vibrate at 1 million times a second on a computer. So Bitcoin is the technology version of gold. It's digital gold. It's going to be, in my opinion, 10x bigger than gold, but they're the same idea.
How do you compare that to Ethereum, which investors seem to be very hot on, and we're starting to see ETH?
Okay, let's see what Saylor says. He's not the biggest fan of Ethereum, but for those that didn't know, I think I forgot to share this today. Bitmine for the past 5 days has traded double the trading volumes of MicroStrategy. So obviously you got more people that are excited about Ethereum in general. Let's see how he responds to that question.
Their treasuries built out, holding companies built out as well, like Bitmine. And then you've got stablecoins as well, which seem to be surging. Just a few minutes ago, headlines that Tether is seeking between $15 billion and $20 billion in exchange for a roughly 3% stake through a private placement, for example.
You know, Bitcoin has emerged as digital gold. There's consensus. What do you want to do with gold? You want to issue credit. You issue credit against the underlying capital asset. It's going to be the primary monetary crypto. Ethereum, Solana, the other tokens, they're emerging as sources of digital finance. Their use case is networks to circulate and tokenize stable coins, tokenize currencies, tokenize securities, tokenize real world assets, and implement DeFi. And so the future of those networks is going to be determined by technology, by regulation, by competition, and of course, by the execution of those management teams.
How should investors think about navigating an investment in strategy specifically, which I know you've described as a levered bet on Bitcoin versus the other BTC-backed fixed income instruments that you've launched in recent months?
Yeah, the credit instruments we're offering, like Stretch, are meant to compete with short-term money market funds or other sorts of fixed income instruments. So if you're a fixed income investor and you believe in Bitcoin and you're interested in something that has higher yield or perhaps longer duration, then you would look at one of our credit instruments. If, on the other hand, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and you actually want more Bitcoin, then our equity is actually got credit amplification in it. So the equity is amplified Bitcoin. So people that want more volatility, more upside than Bitcoin will go for the equity. People that are interested in having the volatility and the risk stripped away will look at the credit.
Okay. How do you ensure you're not over your skis with any of these instruments if Bitcoin plunges again?
Okay, so basically he said he doesn't care about Ethereum. I mean, same answer he's had for the past couple of years.
Well, we've got about $70 to $75 billion of Bitcoin. We've only got about $6 billion of these preferred credit instruments outstanding, so it's not even 10%. And of course, the preferreds never come due, and so they're not really leverage. I could say that we've got a PhD in leverage at strategy. We lived through the crypto winter. So we've constructed a balance sheet that could handle any conceivable drawdown and continue to perform.
So how do you respond to some of the critics out there? Jim Chanos a couple days ago saying that your tactics to boost returns are quote unquote financial gibberish.
As I would say, for 300 years, the entire Western world ran on gold-backed bonds. What we're doing is distilling yield, duration, and we're offering those in digital credit instruments. We're stripping away the volatility. We're stripping away the risk. And there's a huge number of people in the world that want some sort of digital credit instrument. The ones we're offering are higher yielding. They may be more liquid. And they may be longer duration than all the comparable credit instruments out there. The only way to create them is using digital capital, and Bitcoin is digital capital. I think the short sellers don't understand the use case of digital credit built on digital capital because they've never seen it before in the history of the capital markets.
Well, we appreciate you coming on to talk about it. Michael Saylor of Strategy, great to have you.
All right.
Thank you.
That's what we got from MSTR. You're back right on time.
Did you guys? I was texting Amit. I don't know if you realize he saved me from I was holding the bathroom break. So I was just getting nervous. I was like, I need to go.
I genuinely felt you were a little tired. That's why we took a break. I didn't know you had to pee.
I was like, no, I need to go to the bathroom.
All right. Well, what do we just at AMD? All right. Yeah. Now we can get into all the other tickers. We're gonna be here.
Is it time? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have an hour. We'll try to get through all the other tickers. Please don't spam it. Even though if I say don't spam it, people are still gonna spam it. But
can I? I'm gonna spam my.
Do you have a ticker you want to do before we get to everybody else's? Is there anything on your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do.
Wait.
Oh, Boeing.
I'm spamming it. Well, mine doesn't.
Boring though, dude. They did have a partnership with Palantir today, though, which was exciting.
Yeah, but they did.
All right, Boeing. What do you got?
I think it's similar. So first of all, I like AMD. I do think it's kind of fitting that because AMD products are kind of like less expensive, and maybe fitting that the AMD customer or anyways. Boeing is setting up really interesting. I think right now you have to be somewhat catalyst driven. I like Boeing, and I like that they are catalyst driven in terms of one, we have a partnership with AMD. or not with Palantir, but two, we have earnings coming up at the end of next month. So we're one month away from earnings. They also just got like I think it was a pretty large order today, but a heavy consolidation right here at the lows. And the weekly low also to note that Diamonds or DIA has been outperforming slightly. So the right sector, catalyst driven, 2 headlines, 1, a new order, 2, partnership with Palantir, 3, already had a nice little pullback, and then 4, having had a decent consolidation here with what I'm going to call a nice little liquidity grab. This is the setup that I kind of look for. So right here, when I say liquidity grab, what I'm talking about is this little pierce below support just for a split second right here that gives you that one-time entry that looks like it's going to fail. But when you zoom out, look left, you're like, ooh, interesting. That actually tagged another very key level right here at 212 and change here. And I zoom out, by the way, this is a very old chart. I've been in this guy for a very long time.
You've been in this guy for a very long time.
Yeah, this is, I mean, since here.
Sounds like something I would say, to be honest. It's quite incredible.
What's that?
No, nothing. I could just continue. Anyway.
Yeah, well, the SOFI broadening range, Boeing is like my actual like original broadening range of, I guess, 2023. Last 3-year broadening range, traded all of this off of this lows, and then coming in here. This is one of my picks, but this retest right here, right now, is a retest of the original consolidation of the broadening range. One more time, well off the lows, coming up in here. I think this is an entry that is possibly a very good one for, if it works out, it could be a very good one for a very long time. But that said, beautiful consolidation, multi-day consolidation, beautiful piercing line here. We call this a failed breakdown right here off the weekly low, coming into a weekly high. I'm going to go ahead and take this full consolidation here, and I'm going to give you 2 trajectories ahead of earnings for possible extensions, because remember, this is actually a counter trend move within counter trend, meaning that this downside move was counter to the larger uptrend. So the larger trend in Boeing is up, larger from 2025 of April. That trend is up, and this counter trend downside move is counter to the larger trend, and has come back down to a pretty key support area right now. One last thing I need to flip on. I don't know why this is not showing.
Yeah, we'll do 3 minutes a ticker for all these other tickers, and we'll get through a lot of them.
Anyways, so if this gets over, I think it's like whatever this line is, probably it's like 219-ish that I'm confirmed right here. That's like my break of structure. That's going to be my confirmation upside. Right now, I have confirmation that it's no longer going down. I would have a hard stop right now. This is a pre-earnings move. I think that there are 2. So stop would be a weekly close below 212 and a half. I'm looking for 2 trajectories. 1, confirmation first, right back into this prior consolidation with ahead of earnings with 2. This is where these bears, where they were selling, these sellers, all of these sellers will give up and cover their shorts. That will give me a second press right into a new target here for second continuation, 1, 2, And if I can get actually all the way through, then I have a big trade on my hands that goes to 250. So that that all starts here now from inception, right here off 215. So that's what I'm looking for. Very tight risk to reward trade with a hard stop below. Call it like 212 weekly close, but it starts today, right now, off of this situation. That's Boeing.
All right. We'll get to all these tickers. I'll do a hard stop at 3 minutes, and then we'll keep going from there. CoreWeave.
CoreWeave. Well, I mean, Jensen did the Jensen thing and looks good. Actually, I have, I don't know why my thing is not showing up. Oh, because I'm on a 3-hour chart. I need to be on 4. Hello. So yeah, this looks good actually. So prior consolidation area up in here, we're going to call this a break of structure. As long as it's holding 127, this is right back. This looks like targets acquired. Shoot. Right into, I would have a hard time pressing this bet. As long as holding 127.5, this is okay. You might have a little bit of chop. You might be looking up into 145s for now, but unless it's well over 145s. Let me get one more reading. Yeah, so that's not changing my read. So this read is over 133.88. Your next trade is it's a small range, 144, but over 144. Oh, did that change it? I mean, yeah, it's got this little range, and then you have to see. So you got a little bit left. It did change a little bit. Shoot, yeah. As long as it's holding this whatever this break of structure is, that 127, it could maybe make the trajectory to 145, but it's made a lot of the move already.
Okay. ASTS.
Not really much to say here other than like congrats.
It's recovered from 37 lows last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. You're at targets. So like all of this stuff that we've been talking about, how these things work, it starts right here. You might not see it on the screen, but that's the lows here. These are these lows here. Once that broke back over basically that yellow line, you're going back up to the highs. So right now you have to hold quarterly highs, which are 54.01, and you're probably going to get stuck going sideways for a little bit in this area. And if you can hold through, then 58.11 or 58 and change, which is your next kind of like inefficiency in the market. Maybe, just maybe, if you're really, really lucky, you get an extension, which puts you into 65. But if you lose 53 or 54, then your pullback is, this is a big mover. Yeah, your pullback's 48.5. So you got to be cautious that you don't lose this, because then you go into this box down here, because that's a big move. So a pullback would be also substantial.
NBIS.
NBIS, I think you either leaps or bounce. NBIS, I think that the news is the news. We can do this technicals all day. This is one where I'm not so sure I would even want to do technicals here, because not that I don't think they can work. They will work. 125 is where this would go, as long as it's holding 100. Simple, straightforward to me. But I don't think that you should limit yourself to TA on this one, because this is going to be a mover on headlines. It's one deal. They did a raise. Great. I don't think that there's going to be more deals coming. I don't even know where this would stop.
Me either, to be
At
honest.
150, I think might even be an understatement. That's where this measurement's going to go. But it's going to be at the magnitude of whatever the deal is. This is a crazy one, but it's going to be front run a little bit. The technicals would give me 125, 150 as a front run. But the second that a deal comes in, depending on how far that price action has front run the deal, that's going to be the magnitude of the run. But there are going to be more deals. We just know that at this point.
Okay, Novo.
NVO.
Yep.
This is the Intel of pharma, Intel of weight loss. So if you're meaning that like they're kicking out their CEO, if you're interested in this, then you need to be strapped in. Don't expect any kind of turnaround anytime soon. That's my best comparison. It's the Intel of weight loss drugs. Like the board of directors literally booting the CEO. Like that's what's happening. So otherwise, approval driven, which is kind of crazy, kind of funky for, it's just how these stocks work. It's not a US company, so I couldn't even say that it's a rate driven as I could for most of the XBI or biotechs, because it's not US rates. So it's even harder. But yeah, there's going to be some changes coming. Yeah.
Okay.
But it would be a long road.
I think so too. I mean, there's a lot of trials. This would be the time to buy if you're super bullish, but you
cannot have a near term.
Yeah.
It's like that comment you had about somebody talking about NVIDIA, where like in the long run, yeah, you'll probably be right, but your timeline is probably too short.
It's aggressive.
Like you need to have too aggressive. Yeah, you need to have a very long timeline on this. It's like people ask me about UNH, which we could probably skip because like call me when it's 700. It'll probably get there, but if you're asking me about 700 this year or next, like no, I mean I don't know. It's gonna be headline driven. It's gonna be who knows, but eventually, for sure, I would hope. But like if you're in it, I think that's what you're in it for. If you're looking at a quick flip on UNH, I don't know why you. This is not no.
Okay, no, I agree. It's gonna take time. Celsius.
Well, Celsius was downside. Is still downside. 48s. I would have thought, honestly, I closed my I had Celsius long, and then I had Celsius shorts, and then they bought Rockstar. Did you know they bought Rockstar?
Is it called Rockstar? Yeah, I think you're right.
They bought Rockstar Energy. They also bought
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they bought Rockstar Energy.
Yeah,
I was long Celsius. I actually finally caved. And I went long Celsius here as a trade. And then I went short Celsius here. And then I closed my shorts here. And then I bought Rockstar. And then I thought it would, I was about ready to get long again. And it didn't go higher. And I think the market just kind of like turned. That said, if the market does get more into this is a funny one because of the sector that it lives in. It lives in the consumer staples sector, so it doesn't conform with the rest of the market. It doesn't move with the rest of the market. It moves with the staples. So sometimes if the staples are moving, it's gonna go. But for now, long story short, 48.55s. You can look at that level for your next kind of area of interest right here. But it could possibly come down slightly lower. Let's go ahead and take a quick measurement. See if I can get some coffee. Ooh, it might not even get me that. It's actually saying anytime. It's actually saying that it might be any moment. Unless, yeah, I'm going to stick with that 48.5.
Okay. That is fair. Soundhound.
Yeah, it really needed to hold over 61. If it was over 61, it was going, but it didn't hold that. SOUN. Did this do it again? It did it. So this thing's wild. Like, it had this crazy earnings, and then it gave it all back. Look at this thing. It had this earnings. It basically gave it all back. And then some. And
now it's kind of getting it back. This one's, I don't know how it trades, but
so it's not trading on any realm of, it's not conforming to anything that I typically do. So for that matter, this might be some kind of like wild Elliott wave shenanigans, which I do not do at all, because those are way too touchy. Like, you have to be extremely precise, like, and I do not mess with those at all on purpose, because they're too finicky. Plus, I don't know if I'm any good. Anyways,
so there's not much here, basically.
You know, I mean, it's good, but it's very whipsawy. Like, it goes and then it doesn't. It looks good, and then it like crushes your dreams. And you kind of just get stuck married to it, and then you're like, you think it's good, and then it's not. I think it could go a little bit higher, but then if you stay too long, it might make you cry again. It's one of those. I'd say like just under 20, but you're pretty close anyways, and it might have just gotten as high as it's going to go. You're verging on the from a technical perspective, without knowing any more of the story, this looks like you could be verging on the realm of sticking around too long.
Okay. Google.
It's a hot girlfriend that always breaks up with you. Yeah. Googs is gone sideways for a little bit. How's your competition doing? Do you have Google, or you're still Apple? You're Apple.
I did get to first place.
On Apple, less.
Yeah, Chris has Google. I have my Mac 7s are Apple. That's the only Mac 7. Yeah, so that's up 30%.
But your first place on Apple.
Apple is helping me get first place. Correct.
No, Apple is making you. It's doing it.
Nebius is really doing a lot of work with 100.
Yeah. Okay.
Thing.
Is it weighted?
It's equal weighted. Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Is it equal weighted? Yeah, it's equal weighted. Yeah.
Oh, see, you guys. Now you're making it up. It's equal weighted.
Equal weighted is a pretty fair weighted. I mean, like, it literally, you have to have 10 good picks for you to win. Like, you have to be a stock picker if it's equal weighted.
No game.
Like, because if I had Tesla and that was the heaviest weighting, obviously that would be skewing my performance, right? Because Tesla's.
Well, yeah. I mean, people weight their portfolios, right?
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been holding 250 for almost 2 weeks now. Do you think that continues?
Well, stocks run, then they rest. So it's going to make the next one. I think that 250 was. So I think you have to pull this back and say, at this point, is this target acquired from a technical perspective? And it is. So 250 from this perspective is right here. That was the target. 250.29. You may or may not be able to see it. It is right here. 250.25. Right in this box. And that is this full swing high to swing low from it. I mean, what a good buy. Do you remember talking about this? And we were on stream. I mean, I'm reminiscing here. And Amit was like, is this, so you're saying there's a chance? he was like, so you're saying there's a chance? And I'm like, I'm saying there's a chance, dude. Here we are. Anyways.
It really worked out for everybody.
You know, so you would like this to hold 250. It's not even 250. It's 248.16. So I'm going to zoom into this, and what I'm going to do so that you guys can see this a little bit differently is that I'm going to shift here and I put some numbers here. We're going to make this a BOS, means break of structure. We're going to do two of those. So whites. Okay. So you should have two blue numbers on here. I should make this green. Green. I'll make this yellow. So the green number above 250 and change, you're golden. Like, you're good to go. As long as that can hold. Do you see that white, that 2 number up there? You're up here. That's next year. 270, 275s. That's next year target. And trajectory for next, I'd say like Q2 next year, is in the 275s, as long as that can hold. So what do you do with this in the meantime? So in the meantime, 240, we're gonna make this yellow. If you lose, and only if you lose that first yellow number, 248, then you'll likely, these are the trading ranges, you'll likely go down to 240. Not a bad thing, but that's where you will likely go. And so that becomes kind of like where you would expect to see some kind of consolidation right in here. And it will probably be a larger consolidation. It's not a hard line in the sand. Remember, support is like a trampoline, right? Like it will possibly create a new kind of base of support. And then you want to see it really kind of like project back up into that same range. Because remember, although it might make this move down, eventually it will make that same exact move right back up, right? And then this same move, if it does continue higher, all right, we'll make another move back in this way. So these are pathing. So the paths that the stocks can take over time. You know, if it does this, cool, that's fine. But this is the pathing. And so even if it does do this, well, cool, guess what that would look like? You're still on trajectory. Does it have to do that? No. Can it go straight to the upside? For sure it can. But what does it have to look like? Well, 255.79 is that prior tippy top that we're talking about right now. And so that would be another like break over 256. And that triggers, all right, well, you're just fully on your way. A normal move here would put a stop right at 258 as that first next trajectory. I'll take this down. So 258 would be that next little, call it 260 blip on the radar. So that path would look like, cool, we've come down. You're going to make that as one trajectory move, and then probably this one more as that path traverses higher. But all that said, you got to hold 248, 23 near term. If you don't, okay, cool. Then your pullback is going to be in the 240s near term. Let's say by the end of the year. And that's where everything has to hold. You don't have to hold, but that's ideally where it would hold. If you can't hold that, then we're talking about a larger pullback. And in that case, I would have to, oops. I'll see, that's when we get I'm not trying to do that. We can't do that. yeah, if we can't do that, then we're talking about 225s again, which is more kludgy, but we'd have to have something else happen in the market. That'd be more, at that point, there's some kind of story, some other story that's happening. And we have to take that into account.
All right, last 30 minutes. This is officially rapid fire, so we're going to try to get through every last ticker real quick, and we'll be done for the day.
It was a bigger ticker, so I spent a little bit more time.
Yeah, exactly. And Google's a big one for everyone. Before we finish up, Jason's Twitter, again, if you are not following him on X, please make sure you follow him. He has a Discord. He has a private group that you can get more info on if you click on the link in his bio, if you want more of Jason, more of his advice, mentorship, trading, all that stuff. So please make sure to check him out. And every Tuesday, he's with us for free for 3 hours.
Technical Tuesday.
Trying to help us understand all this TA. All right, rapid fire. Here we go. Oracle.
Oops. Where's my ORCL? Still sideways. We talked about this. I think you got to let this chill for like 45 days. Whenever you have a situation like this, first attempt needs to actually completely break on a power earnings gap like this. It has not. So it's not breaking up. It's not breaking down. Usually, honestly, you let this bad boy breathe and you don't touch this for 45 days on a move like that. I legitimately don't touch this. I stay wide away. If it gets over 330, you go to 347, but that is it. You're not going higher unless news happens, but no. And if you go below 285, you're going all the way down. So, but you're very far away from that. So below 285 here, you're going to fill the entire gap, but you're so far away from there. It's not even funny.
I 1000% agree. I would not touch it after going up 40% in a week. So I agree with you there.
It's condor season on Oracle.
Agreed. HIMS.
It was looking good this morning, and then boop, 60. Are you still long?
Yeah, I'm still long.
You're a long time.
I'm thinking of, no, I mean, I have 700 shares. I'm thinking of just buying the extra 300 and making it 1,000 and just leaving it. But yeah, I didn't buy when it got to 40s because I was buying
as close to 50 as you can.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, right here. So you tried, right? So, okay, cool. Didn't break through resistance at 60. Support is at 50. So as close to 50 as you can and kind of traverse that channel. The channel is here, right there. So trade location, it's going to put you around here.
I think this would be way higher, by the way. It would have blown past 72 if their all-time high, if this Novo compounder lawsuit didn't happen. But that just...
Yeah, I mean, if the lawsuits didn't happen.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, if fundamentals weren't a thing, technicals would rule.
Yeah, agreed. Oscar.
Ooh, I haven't looked at this today. Thank you. Not getting the Momo. I think healthcare is going to be a thing. I hope healthcare is going to be a thing. I still like this. Still going to be as close to just. I think at this point you still channel up. Here's your channel. I think you're close to the bottom of the channel. Not that again really matters, but quarterly high is 17 and a half, but I don't really have like major support until just under 17. So just under 17 is where I have more structure. 16 and 3 quarters. That's where I think you could nibble, just under 17. The question is Amit going to buy it? You don't have any healthcare in your portfolio.
Dude, I'm trying to take care of my own health before I, That was such a bad joke. That wasn't even funny, bro. That was wordplay with no punchline.
Dude, does AK Media provide health insurance? No. I need to know what your healthcare plan. What kind of healthcare do you provide?
UNH, baby.
UNH used to be really good healthcare too. Yeah. Damn it.
Webull.
Dude, the chart's so low. Why aren't we looking at Rivian?
We'll do that too. I've done that.
Rivian's going to 23.
Chris is super long Webull. I mean, he thinks Webull's going to 25 actually. So, but in like a year is his target.
Like 2026?
January 27.
23.
That would still be good.
Well, you have to hold 13. You have to hold 12. You have this massive, this is not a short-term trade if he's looking at it like that. So here's your last base, and then you could hold it over here, 13. Yeah, because from that perspective, you're still looking at it like, well, it could even come in and do that. And then you're looking at it from this perspective of, oh, there it is. So it's not happening until you're over 15.5. So 15.5 is your break point. And it's this little wick right there, 1562. That's when these bears are going to cover. And that's that volume shelf right there. So all of this can still happen. That's where you're going to run into most of the overhead resistance. And for a while, probably struggle like this until you can finally it's going to be struggle bus for a minute until you can finally get through. And then your next struggle bus is going to be at 18-ish, which he probably knows. And at that point, this support box, you're going to want to see builds up. And then all of this is going to have to essentially move up. And you're going to want to be looking at the same kind of situation, but like this.
And 20 seconds on this one.
All right, that's it. Done.
Okay. Oklo.
That's how you get to 23. Oklo, I think, is going to go in the NVIDIA camp, right? Like this is going higher, right? Like this is the old. I was just looking at this the other day. It's like this is the old. If you probably were not around, but there are these two companies, one called Fuel Cell, one called Plug Power, back in the Biden administration that went from like 75 cents to like $45, from like $1.25 to like $80. Your people probably talked about it, like your viewers probably know about these stocks. But back then, Democrats really had a lot to do with that. Clean power, blah, blah, blah. This is the nukes are like the nukes are the new version of this to me. And so like all your uranium, whatever, the power requirement, what Jensen talked about, this can go. Yeah, I mean, these nukes are going nuclear, and it's going to be a raw supply and demand situation. I don't think that there's anything that I could do from a measurement perspective here, because they're just going. This is very much sentiment based. Everything here is at targets. Can I press it? No, not really. Like not. And it's just going to be one little blip at a time. It can continue higher, but man, as it's stretched, it can get to 150. I think it's on a mission to 150, but when it gets there, does it stay there? I don't know. But it really has to hold it's going to sound weird. It has to hold 125, which is kind of pretty far below.
Would you touch it here?
I'm
not touching that shit. No freaking way.
Dude, this is so late to the party. Like, bro, what am I going to do? Like,
I mean, the funny thing, it could go to 200. Like, it really
that's what, so those stocks that I just referenced, dude, they went berserk, and I was in them the whole way. But like, dude, they just kept going and going and going. There was one way to trade those if you were trying to get in there late, and that was with options, and that was with something called like a ratio spread. You want to be long volatility, but you don't want to be. Anyways, out of the box, back in the box here. They can continue on, but you want to really like be very cautious. And as long as the sentiment's there, like the sentiment stays. And but the pullbacks can be violent, and you just got to know you're dealing with some like nuclear shenanigans, and it can go nuclear on you either way.
Okay. Lulu.
No, I don't. It's just going lower.
Where is it at? I haven't looked at it. It's at 170.
Dude, it's not. This is a short today.
I mean, it's already down 50%, but you still think it's downside?
Yeah.
Maybe there is downside to you?
Yeah.
Okay. It bottomed at 163.
What are you talking about?
It got there and then it bounced. I don't know if that's the bottom, but
first of all, it was 159.
Okay, 159, whatever. But I don't know, bro. For it to go down to the low hundreds, it would have to be so bad.
Why would you think it's low hundreds?
I mean, well, if you're shorting it, what are you looking for? You're looking for like
0.
Okay, I mean, that too. That's possible.
If you're shorting a stock, you're shorting a stock.
Okay, so you're bearish. You don't like this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Unity. I'm not that bearish, guys. I just don't. The chart's not good, and it's not in a good spot, and it's got trade risks. I'm not trying to poo-poo on the stock, but it's not in a good sector, and it's got trade war risks like all over it, like old skid marks, and it's got it doesn't have good sentiment, and the chart does not look good. Unity's like right at the highs for sure. So also like congrats, dude, by the way. Did you pick any of this up? No, there's someone in the chat who's been buying it. Adar, he's been buying this one, but I do not own this.
Dude, yeah, so Unity is like huge win. Yeah, this one. So what you would do is like you kind of want to say, okay, number one, congrats. Number two, you're at the highs, right? This is where it can get real, like interesting. You want to kind of highlight these prior tops right here, but you want to be super cautious because look what just happened. So I think expect some kind of pullback, sell your cover calls. And where do you want to sell your cover calls? So you look at, all right, if all hell broke loose, maybe sell with time around that $60 point, because volatility is extremely high after this kind of a run. It's obviously going sideways right now, but 57 and change is this last peak. So even if it does break loose, that's where it's going to stall next, up here. Take advantage. Sorry, this is not financial advice, but it would go over here and be aware that like if it doesn't, it might not go right now because you're gonna get slapped with the prior like cohort of sellers or new cohort of sellers because they're looking at this chart and saying, well, this is where it got slapped last time, so I'm gonna expect it to come back down again. And where would they expect to come back down again? Probably into the not super deep, but at least into the 40s which is right over in this general area. So that's, I mean, kind of where it just was, but you don't want to see it get too deep in there. It could see, like you're talking low 40s. It's possible that you actually see high 30s, and you really don't want to see it lower than that. But this becomes a sentiment play if the market turns. But again, any net new shorts that happen to step in here, those get squeezed over 48.
Okay. Reddit.
Google partnership, something. Piercing line. Upside to like that is the definition of a look above and fail. Wait, don't step in. Congrats again. But bears, you know how bears have a tendency to hang around too long. So do bulls. But it didn't quite get there. Not quite. We were looking for like 3s if it's going to be a full-blown. I think you do need to, you're going to be looking at this 230s. So the last, and maybe even a little bit deeper, the last consolidation was in that 225 area. For sure, you see 230. I say for sure, but right now the trajectory is definitively 230. And this thing, we know Reddit. When she moves, she moves. She's a mover. 225s. And maybe a little consolidation, sub 220, but a little something like this, you might have a little, like a little, 2 little hanging whatevers. It looks like a W formation, and that would be ideal. But that's what this looks. That's going to be about where you're coming into on this one.
Okay. Meta.
I haven't looked at Meta. Double top E. Why are these charts starting to turn on me? What's happening? I've just had so many trades that are doing so well. Now you're giving me all these charts that don't look so well. Is this one of those situations where like one day changed? It just Jay Powell just made all these charts look like not so hot. This one not so bad actually. So there's just that perspective. This is interesting. I don't hate this. Ooh, I don't hate this. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What you
want buying us a little Meta?
750 is your buy?
I mean,
I don't know, bro. Zucks is ready to spend money and he doesn't care.
Listen. Whoa, he said that. Last time he said that. Damn. Why would he say that out loud?
Dude, like every time when he says stuff like that, I'm like, yes, that's like the but then I'm like, well, that's
no, he said that before and he tanked the stock 90% the last time he said that.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was 2022, so everything was...
What do you mean to be fair? To be fair, the last time he said that, he tanked the stock 90%.
And the worst thing is he still is operating the metaverse, dude. They're still losing $20 billion a year on that shit. Like that's it's not like they just
it was a buy the last time he did that.
It was.
So,
it was a buy.
It was a screaming hot buy.
Yeah, I don't think Meta is getting anywhere near 600 again or 500 for us to get that type of opportunity.
Hey, but do we save some shekels, or do we? Hey, did you buy? I saw you. Did you buy some glasses?
I did buy some. Oh no, not the Meta glasses, but other Ray-Bans. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
People thought it was
is now or never. Is now or never, Zucks. It is literally now or never. So this little area, very interesting. I'm going to watch this tomorrow for a trade, since this is trading session. I like this area for an area of interest. Very interesting. I would like to see this hold. This is all right. So right here off 750, it's a nice round number. 750, 750, 750, 750, 750, 750. We all know that Jay Powell is not a stock analyst. So what he was doing today, I don't know. If we get a nice little bounce, that's great. But I know I'm also not going to be in the clear. So I need to know where the bears are going to be lurking. I think I can get a bounce. I think I can get a nice little bounce. But to where is the question? And I think I can get a bounce too. Boop. Wrong arrow. To 775 if I'm really, really lucky. Then I got to call it. Because that is going to be right where these bears are lurking. So that's a trade, possibly for like 2 weeks, but this area has to hold. It's a nice little trade. And if this can hold and that trajectory can stay sound, and if his glasses are really as cool as Amit's telling me, it still puts me on trajectory for 8s. Let me pull this bad boy back. And I like the fact that this is a quarterly high right off of 740s. Not too shabby, dude. I got some confluence, but this bad boy cannot lose that number. So do or die for the Zucks. 750 to 740, very key level. If it doesn't hold that from a technical perspective, she's going to pull back in she's going to see sub 7s. And yeah, then we'll have to wait.
Okay, I have to pee real quick, so I'm going to give you 2 names. I'll be back by the time you're done. PayPal and CRM.
You better not be in number 2.
It's not number 2. I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to dude, again, someone time me. All right, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so PayPal. I've seen you guys talking about this one a lot. If we had Roy here, I always like Roy's Twitter handle, X handle, always throws me off. It's Crossroads, and I want to call him Chris because I feel like that's like deceptive to have your Twitter handle Crossroads and your name not be Chris. It's a little deceiving. So somebody should tell him that. Roy Rhodes makes more sense. Anyways, this is interesting, but I mean, it's obviously gone sideways. So if you're looking at PayPal, I think you're looking at it from a fundamental perspective. This is, I'm going to have to take some of these lines off because you're thinking this from an undervalued perspective. And I agree. The only issue is that it's been undervalued. It's been cheap for forever. Yes, it's a good area. Earnings at the end of October. So let me zoom in just a little bit. Yikes, dude. Yikes, Aroni. You just lost like the biggest volume shelf. I hope you don't lose it. Is this right here, this 68. This is tough. If I had my brokerage open, then I would probably look into some stuff. But yeah, you don't want to.
Doesn't it feel like PayPal is the most obvious buy on the planet, but no one can buy it because of the narrative around PayPal?
Oh, dude, is your bathroom like literally, did you have a porta potty right there?
Dude, dude, yes, I washed my, that's a minute 30 seconds. That's reasonable, bro.
You did not. No.
I absolutely did wash my hand. And yes, the bathroom is right there. That's
okay. So mine is like another building.
Well, you're in an office. You're not in a house, so it's different.
No, I'm not in a house, but it's a very interesting spot. There's like little to no interest, but it's spiky interest.
Bro, they're buying back $6 billion worth in 5 years. They're going to buy back the company. It's ridiculous. Like, but it's hard.
I don't understand why they don't just go private.
Well, that's what Steve's been saying they should do.
Huh? What?
Steve's been saying they should just take the fucking company private and get it.
Literally. because they were doing that up here.
Yes, exactly. They were buying back stock at 80, 90, but yeah.
So as an investor, I would be a little perturbed knowing that they just wasted. There's that. How's that going to look on the balance sheet?
Or this is simply the easiest story in the market, and it's going to double pretty soon. I mean, that's the other.
No, because that thesis was also there at 125.
I mean, that's true.
It is true because I was there for it, right? And it was also there at 195 for real. It's also there for Roku. This is the worst double top of death.
Okay, so not that bullish on that. We can.
I mean, it's a value play. It's a value play for sure, but you could take another stab at it. I think it's like, what did we just say? NVIDIA and what was the other one we were talking about? Like, you might be right in the long term, but the timeline might be wrong.
No, I agree.
You're probably going to be right in the long term, but the timeline might be wrong. It might be 2035.
I mean, dude, I have some friends who are saying it double in 2 quarters on PayPal.
I mean, I just said 35.
I know you're talking about 10 years. They're talking about 6 months. So I don't know.
I don't know either, though. That's one thing. I think you just should be like, I'm not really sure, but at some point in time, I think so. You're going to be right.
Yeah.
And be ready. Like, to be right, I think you'll be right. I think you will be right. But to put a time on it, I don't know.
All right, we got like 10 more minutes. We're gonna have to do literally.
Oh, shoot. What's the other one? PayPal and
Salesforce. Real quick on that one.
Okay, CRM is gonna be fine. I think they just paid a divvy. It's in consolidation. I hope is gonna be fine. It's still struggling. This isn't a struggle. It's a struggle bus. It's a struggle bus. November is the best month of the year for Salesforce. Typically, let it get through October. I think it's November, October, the eating season, guys. The eating season. If you want to build your coffers, that's fine. Let's get through September. You got 10 days. 10 days of atonement. Did you? Are you fasting?
For what?
Rosh Hashanah. Is it Rosh Hashanah?
I'm not Jewish, so no.
So I don't know.
Are you fasting?
I might need to. I would be a really bad Jew if I don't know. I need to talk to Gob. Gob's a very good Jew. He knows all his stuff. He schooled me down. He schooled me so big time, like last year. He was like, "Yeah, dude, you're supposed to be taking the time off." Oh God. Okay. It's consolidating. I have a poor man's cover call on CRM right now. Long November, short October. I like the level. I would like it to hold somewhere in 240s, consolidate. It's not going over 260, that's for sure. Probably not going over 250. Hold it right here, go sideways for 30 or so days, and hang tight.
All right. By the way, this is why you definitely shouldn't fast, because it's Yom Kippur where you fast, not
Jesus.
Either. This is why.
Bad.
Okay, so last 10 minutes, last 10 names. Going to keep it really tight at a minute per name, and then we'll get out of here. Joby,
I was right. I was right last time. Someone asked me, tell me that I'm done with the pain. You got to look this up. We need to do a celebration of like some of these Technical Tuesday recaps. We never get to celebrate the wins, but whoever was that asked me about, put me out of my misery. I said, you're done. You're done. Your misery is over. Congratulations. But yeah, I think you're good. But you're at the next level. Now maybe take some measures. You may be in the waiting time now. So we do need to get over 18 and change. So congratulations being out of the muck. Enjoy it while it lasts. We don't know how long it will last because you're right back in the bear pit. Right back to the scene of the crime. So stay on your toes.
Okay. Qualcomm.
They're saying Rivian.
I mean, we could do Rivian, but it's just got to keep it to a minute.
Yeah, Qualcomm. I can keep Rivian to the minute. So if Apple's going, who's Apple's biggest supplier? Qualcomm. We can keep it straightforward like that. If Apple's going to do well, Qualcomm should do well by proxy. Actually, you can keep it as that simple. They also had a Sky whatever event this week, I think it was. I didn't follow up on that. They have a big chip. They sell chips like not potato chips, but other chips that go in phones. And they're making up. They're in the gap. They're in actually I've missed this trade, and that's kind of irritating because this was definitely on the radar and this was a no-brainer trade, and I failed, and I'm a little upset. So, I'm gonna stew on this. This was a no-brainer. Wow. So congrats to the Qualcommers. That should have been a layup. And this may continue to be a layup if, in fact, Apple actually does as good as they're saying that they do. And what a trade this may be, because this does not look like it's really started quite yet. This could be a big-time turnaround, Amit.
Okay.
Maybe we should look into this.
All right.
Maybe.
Fubo,
ticker symbol RIVN, Fubo. Yes, this one is good. Broken down trend.
I was trying to leave Rivian for the end for you, but go ahead, Rivian.
Okay, FUBO.
Because I know you, bro. I know you have a lot to say, so I'm trying to make sure you.
I know. I was gonna make it.
You do. You act like you don't. You yap more than me when it comes to something.
Only because I love you.
No, we
but
love
something about Disney and Fubo. Did you know that the NFL? I went to go buy the Sunday ticket because, okay, first of all, all these football games are on YouTube, so bullish Google more. Every freaking NFL game is on YouTube. They're not even on cable TV.
Not every game, but they have a partnership.
No, every game is on the YouTube.
Is every Sunday night football? I don't think that's true.
Dude, the NFL
YouTube
ticket,
TV, but
no, it's $700 subscription on YouTube to watch the NFL ticket.
Oh, but that's not the same. Most people are not paying that shit, bro. They're not paying $700.
I know it's $700 for NFL ticket. If I want to watch my games, it's $700.
But your point is, it's competitive with Fubo, obviously.
If you like Fubo, Fubo. And I've gotten some people that are pinging me on Fubo. This chart, first of all, they've apparently done some kind of split here. And I don't know why it's not showing it to me. Oh, no. Oh, that's timer. Why is that giving me a labels? Countdown. Never mind. That was a countdown. So $4. Fubo needs to do a reverse split. This is a bullish season for Fubo. Disney is having a hard time, whether it's the cancel culture coming over to late night TV, or if it's sports season coming over to Fubo. This is a very interesting chart that I really haven't put a whole lot of thought into. But with everything going on, fine, you guys. Fine. You got me. I think we need to look at this on a weekly scale. What happened to my chart just now? I don't know. This is over all key levels. What do they have me looking at, dude?
You know they have a merger coming up soon, right?
Yeah.
And there's a vote, I think, on the 30th officially. I think like that's what's really creating.
This is a leap setup because it's massive consolidation and it's cheap. So it's either like equity. I keep talking about options. I'm sorry. It's massive consolidation. It's over everything key. But I don't know that I'm like a big believer because I don't really know that much about it. But this weekly stick, say stick means candle. 30 Proy vote. I don't know what Proy vote means. This chart is bullish, dude. What?
Okay.
This looks really bullish. And I don't know how to value this because I don't think this is going to come down to technicals, but this technicals, schmecticals tell me like 9s. So that's what these guys are telling me. I don't know. I don't know what the valuations are putting this at, but the technicals are actually telling me 9s. 850 to 9. Does that line up with your fundamentals, guys?
Does anyone have a price target that's based on fundamentals, or is it just? I think this is pure momentum and hype on the merger. So like I've not seen anyone.
Fubo is not 8 to 10 yet.
It's speculative for me, bro. I'm not trading this, but obviously if the merger goes well, then this seems like. But I don't even understand the nuances of the merger. Like if there's a merger, does Fubo even still exist as a public company? Like even a simple question like that, there's probably
guys.
But like that's a legit question, right? Like if Disney buys them, then why are they?
I thought they already bought it.
Yeah. So would it emerge?
Well, 6 would be the first stop because 6 is that last high.
Fubo gets a 30% stake in it. Yeah. See, I'm not in the weeds on.
But Hulu, we don't really want.
Okay. Well, people are saying 8 to 10. That's the range people are thinking. Okay, Rivian.
Rivian is not going bankrupt. Also love this chart. Right now, we are attempting, so similar to everything else that we were looking at, very long term, right? Ish. So last basis support 1050. We're well above that, so we can move that basis support up to here, right? That's 12. We're actually above that, and I can take that 12 and I'll put that 1232. Now I can move this up and we're going to look just a bit to our left and we're going to say, all right, well, above that was this guy, right? That was that last base of support over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and say, okay, that is 1310. Where's 1310 land us? That actually lands us as this guy. We're climbing on up, right? We're climbing on up and we're slowly making a little bit of a trajectory here. Along the way, we want to assume, hey, look, this box, this is not a short-term play. This is the main one. We're going to make it red. This guy right here is the main offender. In this little area, the biggest chop zone of chop zones. And since it gave me more time, otherwise I would have made this a 5-second thing. You know, I'll fast forward to the end. Fast forward to the end. Here, we had support, resistance. So we know that this is support, SR flip, support, resistance. Now we've got 1, 2, 3. Wait, I do this count right? 1, 2, 3 attempts. No such thing as a triple top. This may or may not be it right now. But anything in this attempt, this is like the fourth attempt. So we got 1, 2, 3. This whole attempt can take a while. But where we go, any pullback in this attempt is part of this channel. 23 is that session gap, actual session gap here. 1, 2, 3. And so this channel here, we're going to take from here, this trajectory. This is the trajectory that I want it to hang on to, more or less, and hold in this route and go there. That's what I'm looking at, boys and girls. That's it for now. First route. If nothing changed, and we're good. We're good on EV. They don't have a whole lot of tariff. They actually have no tariff exposure. It's like 100% US made, whatever. Yeah, I think I'm happy. I'm a happy camper here in this entire range. If this entire range can turn into support, you're well on your way. Good goodness gracious. If this thing actually cracks through there, then let's just not talk about that. We'll talk about that one step at a time.
Okay, last 5. TTD.
Oh, we sell more. TTD just got some headlines. I don't really know what it is today. It's a nice little double bottom. I've signed off on TTD, but you know, that's when things probably go double bottom. Sure. I'm not interested in this because I just don't know enough or really, I don't know. Are you going to buy this? I don't know. I would, why TTD is up today. These sessions invested news that key competitor Google. What? That's today? It's yesterday.
I didn't see this headline, but
so this is on news. It was a move on news around Google. So I'm not going to put any kind of stock in this trade. I don't know what's going on with Trade Desk, but I'll tell you what. Fool me once. Shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice.
Shame on me. No.
Yeah. So I have to do a lot more fundamental analysis on this to even considering putting myself at risk for TTD. And I don't know that I have the time to do that. So I'm just honestly, I'll be straight up with you, dude. I'm waiting for Tanner to do it. Like straight up, I'm waiting for Tanner to finish his DD, or if he's going to do his DD on it. And if he decides to do it, then I'll hear it. But if he doesn't, then I probably won't involve myself in it. But for right now, if he doesn't do it, the chart will tell me, and the chart will tell me at least over, like, it's really got to be over 55. And like, this is one level. I mean, because I like Tanner, but this is a main issue right here. And yeah, it's really not out of the weeds. But here's what will be true is that if this stock is over 55, then I know that the market has at least gifted them a pardon. If it's over 55, the market has gifted TTD a pardon for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent. And then it's on me to decide if I want to put myself at risk. And at that point, I will probably DM Tanner again. Okay. And then he may just totally ignore me. But we'll see.
All right, last few. Lemonade.
Insurance. Anybody? Again, AK Media, not really big on insurance, guys. It doesn't look bad. 54 is that last high right here. Let's see if I can get some confluence. Looking not bad. Ooh, actually, I do have some confluence here. So I would actually look for that 54 area to act as kind of some support and go sideways there for a bit. And if I can get that, if you get this sideways and then start to see a little peak up and out, that's probably going to be a good area of interest. But not before then, because you got to give this a little bit of a breather.
Okay. Archer.
Oh, this is very much sideways. So going to be heavily news driven. What happened? Am I on the right ticker?
Yeah. No, ACH. No, wrong one. ACH. Maybe I'm wrong. ACHR. ACHR.
Okay. What the heck was I looking at before?
I think this company called Arch Capital.
Okay, so this guy's bounced right into. This is like Joby. You're off the pain train, but you're right back to the scene of the crime. So I think you can kind of stay the course, but you don't want to see any major breakdowns at this point. You bounced out of support, like you're out of the pain train, like at 8s, locked in a higher low, but you're also not out of the weeds yet. So cautiously optimistic, more cautious than optimistic here, for sure. I can't say this could be a lifeline. You could easily break down. You can't take a new trade here. You just got to stay the course if you're long. Be ready to ripcord it. You don't want to see this below 9 again.
Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry that there's a lot we couldn't get to. It's just, we were here for 3 hours, but hopefully we got to as many as possible. I think last two, this one, real quick one, Big Bear AI. I think this is more so because they got a Navy contract today, but.
I mean, this has been on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 day ripper. Holy moly.
Well, there's a politician who bought as well. That might be helping it.
I don't know why you don't text me about these on day 1. You asked me about on day 7, which already had
Well, dude, this thing was under $5 after earning. It was a bad earnings. It's just there's a politician who bought it, and people follow the politician. So
that's so funny, man.
It was a really bad. Even the CEO was like, they didn't even take any questions on the call. It was a bad.
Well, at least they had a call.
Yeah, the call was 10 minutes of them just saying the results, but
at least they gave me one. 84 million. No, that's volume. Is there? When the 3 billion market cap? I don't know. It's there. If it breaks out, it could be crazy, but I don't know. Yeah, 10, but you have to see serious follow through, and to press that bet is the second that you get a little peckish. I say peckish. What's the right word here? It's hard to explain. A candlestick that is flat. The second that you get a flat day, you really want to be cautious, because these candles intraday are having very big moves. So this move 12% day. If you get a 1% day or a sub 1% day on on something like this, that's the day that you want to be like, whoop, all right, very quickly exit stage left, because you're going to lose momentum. Because that day looks like this. That's what this day looks like. So when you get this kind of day, and it might not be like all at once, but like 2 days like that, this day, it's like intraday looks like that, but you get a huge wick, and then on both sides, and it opened basically exactly where it closed, and indecision day, look what happens the very next day. Kaboom, blammo. Same thing this day, right? You get a day like, you're going to get a day. If you get a day like this or a day like that, it's like the open is very close to whatever. This is on this guy. These are your telltale candles or signs, right? At least like this one, we're opened here. If it gets bought up at the close, like this one, it's different because most of your trading at the lows was bought up, so you have a big lower wick. Sorry, but if it opens exactly where, so even like this, you have a big lower wick. It's different, but yeah, if you either have a big upper wick or something like this, like that day, indecision day, you don't have that today. But when you have a candle like this, it sets up to have a candle. So you have a big candle like this, it sets up to have an indecision day the very following day. So I'd be very cautious.
Okay, absolute last two. This one I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, energy fuels. Have you seen this one?
Yeah. No, this is Oklo. It's all uranium. Give me another uranium stock in it. What's another one?
Nano-nuclear, SMR.
Yeah, so they'll all be the same chart, right? So UUU, what's the other one?
SMR.
SMR, without looking. Ready? Oh, it's not. Why is it not?
But if you zoom out, it's up there. I mean, it's definitely.
I mean, I might even go. This is. Is it not because it's a real company? What's the other one? NNE.
NNE is the other one. Yeah.
All right, it's close. All right, we'll play the catch up here. So this is the thematic. NNE looks good. It's it's a real company. It's got, anybody know the story here? You guys can school Amit. NNE here, this looks actually really good. If I'm going to play catch up in the nukes, this actually looks good. They have, did they take that dormant plant and take it live yet? No, probably not. So they still have a whole plant that's ready to flip the switch and turn it on. NNE.
UEC is another one.
Oh yeah, that's ready. Boom, baby. Oh wow, this bad boy's double. Let's go. All right.
Hold on. Are you saying this is all bullshit or?
No, I literally. Okay, so when I started this new conversation, I thought you were here. Maybe not. I referenced two stocks. One was Fuel Cell Energy that I took from 75 cents to 45 cents to $45. That's this.
No, but you're saying.
But my point was this was vaporware, right?
So you're saying it's a bubble.
But it was real price, right? Plug Power is real price, and it was fueled by an administration policy and real weight behind this stuff. Plug Power, real weight behind this stuff. $1.25 to like $85 at the time. This is split adjusted, 1,500% equity. We have in the nuclear space, you have AI, you have an administration that is like pushing this whole thing along. They're not going to be behind your clean energy plays, but they are going to be behind for the next 2 years or so. Nuclear and the power, like so. Yeah, it's like a multifaceted trade where like every dips can be violent, but yeah.
If AI really does matter for these energy plays, maybe they play.
No, but so the nuclear stuff, like this never came to fruition. By the time the administrations changed, they went down, and it was like a great wealth destroyer if you stayed too long. Nuclear is very far away from an actual production like thing. It's very far away. So to your point, like it's really far away, but that's not going to stop the market from getting over its skis. I think you just have to understand where we are, right? Like that's just where we are. We're there, and you have support from the administration, and you have support from the masses, and you have support from a technology perspective. So do they want to put money into ramping the technology or ramping the energy supply? Of course they do. And so they're going to support the companies. That's exactly what happened before. So it's there. Just you kind of have to understand like what's the dynamic. So can these continue to go? Absolutely. Are there real companies in the space? Absolutely. Is it like crypto Wild West? Kind of, sort of. So you have to know what you're dealing with. Like they're real companies that are going to be, maybe lagging a little bit, but yet not so dangerous or whatever. SMR, probably, maybe because they're not so exciting, but it's just what it is.
Okay, last one, Lunar, LUNR.
Is this another one of those?
No.
Oh, this is one of those exhaustion candles. Is this a LiDAR? No. Intuitive Machines. Why do I know this?
There's space, if I'm not wrong.
Space. Man, my Redwire just got so shellacked on this SPAC lawsuit, something, assets, blah, blah, blah. Lunar. Why do I know this name?
It had a run a couple months ago. Then it came back down.
I mean, this is a run.
Yeah.
Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Back in 24. Yeah, 24. February. Yeah, February 25. Yeah, that's when it.
I mean, that's a nice run. I'm just not familiar with it. So this looks like an exhaustion setup right now. It's not like the kind of day. This is exactly what I was just saying to be careful of on Big Bear AI. When you have a day that opens and it's like very toppy, it's not a day that you want to get involved like today. Yeah, I think if you have leaps to the comment, like having leaps down here, yeah, you're good. You don't need to do anything for a leaper. Congrats on the leaper. Actually, today, if you have leaps, this is a good day to sell some poor man's cover calls over here, like 13, 14s. Probably January 2026 is convert that bad boy.
Okay,
That's
the actual last one, which is more of a company more people know, Target.
Dude,
Walmart's leaving it in the dust, bro.
I get Target. I get it. I'll tell you this much. I just have an issue with Target's execution. Listen, I got a almost 2-year-old boy. I try to go to Target. They don't have like no. I can't do it. And it's not like I don't spend money at Target, because I spend money at Target. And I actually do not enjoy going to Target because it's just not a good experience, actually. Like from a guy that spends money at Target, it's not a good experience going to Target. I cannot get myself to buy the stock because the execution is just poor. Whenever I go into this, do you guys actually go to the store? There's nobody that's asking me at Target that's gone into a Target store, because try and get some help at Target. Try and buy anything at Target. Dude, they don't have it. You can't get any help, and it's locked away. And it's like they don't want you to buy things, at least in my Targets. But the valuation, I understand. You have to. It's cheap. It's dirt cheap. I think it might be cheap for a reason. So you have to be in it for a long, long time. Although it's retail. So I like Best Buy. I just don't believe in brick and mortar really so much anymore. I really wanted to. And I definitely have a hard time believing in their execution. But I understand that it's an interesting spot. I think it can go lower.
Okay.
I think you can see 75s. But you need a turnaround. You need a big time turnaround. And I don't have the story yet. I don't have the turnaround story. I don't see it.
All right. That is it. Thank you, Jason. As always, please make sure to follow his X. I think we got through almost 40 tickers today. So
If I took too long, I'm sorry, guys. But hopefully any commentary I spent a little time on, it was either take a joke with a bag of salt. It's just a personality, or maybe I was trying to teach something, and hopefully I didn't poo-poo on anybody's ticker. But if you have any questions, feel free to @ me or hop into the server. Click the papergains.com links. Hop into the server. It's free. They have a little free section, and you guys can always @ me in there. We have a crew that will take on any questions also.
yeah, and for those that are like super deep into TA, or like you're getting super deep, I really do think Jason has the best community on the planet to get into that. And it's free to join the Discord. So
there you go.
All right. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it as always.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll get you next
Always
Tuesday.
fun. Always fun. Till next time.
All right. Next time. Twitter's in the chat. Jason, talk later.
Adios. Bye.
All right. We are done for the day, folks. That is almost 4 hours into it. The main headline after hours was this OpenAI partnership expansion with Stargate and Oracle and SoftBank continuing to essentially finance their U.S. data center sites in Texas. I mean, there's not an exact location, but Texas is the rumor that they're beginning to expand at. And you're starting to see more momentum, more and more momentum in these data center plays. Again, the reason the market kind of took a little bit of a sell-off, if you even want to call 0.47% on the S&P a sell-off, is because of what Jay Powell said, I think, during the day. Gave stocks a little bit of a breather, but outside of that, you got pretty much everything relatively flat on the day. All right, well, that is it. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow on the Market Open. We will keep this going. We have 3 days left of September trading, and then we enter October. And we keep going from there, and hopefully we can end out this final week of September in a positive way for the markets. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Appreciate it. See you guys tomorrow on the Market Open. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Oh, by the way, I'm watching Animal House tonight. Dude, it's on Netflix. I just checked. It's on Netflix. So I will legit watch it tonight. And I'll let you know how I feel. Steve said I'm not going to last 20 minutes. I'm going to really try, and I will let you know. So tomorrow morning, I will have an Animal House review. Not just like a ChatGPT tell me that. No, I'm legit going to watch it. It's on Netflix. And hopefully it's not too bad. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Make sure it makes your way to your top 5. Yeah, it kind of has to be my top 5 now. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.